Start and finish of stage number 5 in Wellington in the Wagenmachers Valley, and down on the start line, plenty of tension with 3 days left to race and just less than 2 minutes in the men and 2.5 minutes in the women's race. There's so much to race for.
The 20th edition of the Absa Cape Epic is the most competitive ever. The world's premier mountain bike stage race has seen the men's leaders jersey change hands 3 times, and just 2.5 minutes separates the top 2 women's teams. This 2-person, 8-day stage race traverses South Africa's Western Cape. The landscape is as spectacular as it is rugged. The bespoke 605-kilometre course climbs 16,050 metres through rough, rocky trails, rolling vineyards and manicured single track. Today is stage 5 and we have Olympic champions gunning for a win. Today is one of the shorter stages, and at 70 kilometres it is likely to suit the cross-country specialists. It's a loop out of Wellington through the wild boar trails. There are technical climbs and wild roller coaster downhills. Plenty of opportunity for the teams to make a break over the 1,750 metres of climbing. The highlight will be the Toyota Tough section known as the Golden Mile. Currently in third in the overall we have Buff Megamo, Hans Becking and Wout Alleman, just over 5 minutes off the pace after a difficult day yesterday. Just 2 minutes off the lead we have World Bicycle Relief, Nino Schurter and Sebastian Finney, and in the yellow leaders jersey, for the first time this race, we have 2018 winner Howard Grotz and defending champion Matthew Beers for Toyota Specialized 91. With almost 16 hours of racing in their legs, the men's elite teams head out of Wellington for the last time. There have been 5 main contenders for each of the wins so far, but there is a stacked field of talent that are all hungry for a win. Today is slightly cooler, and with a shorter distance, it's going to be an exciting day of racing. 2016 Olympic champion Nino Schurter is leading the charge today. He and teammate Sebastian Finney need to put pressure on Toyota Specialized 91 in yellow if they are to have any chance of chipping away at the 2-minute gap in the overall. By the halfway point, they have been averaging 27 kilometers an hour. World Bicycle Relief, Toyota Specialized 91 and Canyon City are at the sharp end, with Bulls Mavericks, Simon Schneller and 2016 Cape Epic winner Urs Huber. Schurter has been pushing the pace for the whole race, but hasn't realized that his partner Finney is having a bad day. He didn't recover well from yesterday, and it's his turn to break. On the last climb, Schurter has to drop back. They keep calm and don't overstretch themselves. There are still 2 days to go, and these two riders know the trails inside out. Toyota Specialized 91 and Canyon City leave World Bicycle Relief, and it's not long before Canyon City also drop off the pace. Seerveld went too hard too early and can't maintain the pace. It's time for Toyota Specialized 91 to take advantage of the weakness. They charge through the farmland and along the flats. There is no way the other teams can catch them with Beers at the helm. The yellow leaders cross the Wellington finish line in 2 hours and 46 minutes. It's the first win for Beers and Grotz at this year's Cape Epic, and all the more special in the yellow jersey. Second across the line is Canyon City, 12 seconds later, and in third is World Bicycle Relief, 57 seconds off today's pace. The Stage 5 podium has World Bicycle Relief in third, now almost 3 minutes off the GC. In second is Canyon City, fourth in the GC. And today's winners, Toyota Specialized 91, Matthew Beers and Howard Grotz. They retain the yellow zebra jersey going into the penultimate Stage 6 tomorrow. In the Aramex Elite Women's category, third place sits with Toyota Specialized 91, Samara Shepherd and Sofia Gomez-Viefan. Second are Cannondale Factory Racing with Mona Mitterwallner and Candice Lill. And just over 2.5 minutes in the lead is Ghost Factory Racing, Anna Terpstra and Nicole Kohler. The gun goes on Stage 5 and it's all to play for with these top three teams. They have over an hour to the defending champion Vera Lossa and partner Alexis Skada for Efficient Infinity SCB SRAM in 5th place. The teams head out onto the thrilling loop through the wild boar trails of Wellington. The three usual suspects, Toyota Specialized 91, Cannondale Factory Racing and Ghost Factory Racing, are at the sharp end. Gomez-Viefan sets the blistering pace. She is desperate to disrupt the race and put pressure on the other two teams. Unfortunately, her partner, Shepherd, doesn't have the legs today. She has been getting stronger and stronger on her first Cape Epic, but today has already taken its toll. They fall behind and lose over 1.5 minutes by the time they reach the 50-kilometre mark. Next, it's the turn of Cannondale Factory Racing to put the pressure on the orange leaders. Lill has been the stronger rider in the team thus far, but today, World Marathon champion Mitterwallner has found form, and the 22-year-old is displaying her class. As the temperature rises in South Africa's Western Cape, Ghost Factory Racing sense a weakness in Cannondale Factory Racing. They gradually drop Mitterwallner and Lill. Terpstra, the 9-times Dutch cross-country champion, and Kohler, the 2022 Road Team Time Trial Mixed Relay World Champion. They cross the finish line in almost 3 hours and 22 minutes and take their 6th consecutive stage victory. It's a clean sweep for the Dutch-Swiss pair so far. Cannondale Factory Racing take another second place just 20 seconds behind, consolidating their second place in GC. Third place goes to Toyota Specialized 91, 3 minutes and 43 seconds behind today's winners. The 20th Absa Cape Epic Stage 5 Aramex podium sees Toyota Specialized 91 take third. Cannondale Factory Racing are second, and Ghost Factory Racing having a perfect event with 6 out of 6 wins. The orange leaders' jerseys stay with Ghost Factory Racing ahead of the penultimate Stage 6 tomorrow, hosted in Stellenbosch. After 6 days of racing, this is how it stands. The general classification headed by the Toyota Specialized 91 team, the defending champion team, with one half of that winning team last year, Matt Beers, partnering up with the 2018 winner Howard Grotz. They are 2 minutes and 57 seconds ahead of the World Bicycle Relief pair of world champion Nino Schurter and Sebastian Finney. Hans Peking and Bart Alleman, who wore the yellow jerseys for 2 days, they're now in third place and coming under increasing pressure from the Canyon City pair, who are getting stronger as the week progresses. Andreas Seerveld and Mark Stutzman, now just 11 minutes and 48, but around 3 minutes behind Becking and Alleman. Egger and Baum are losing time handover. First 20 minutes behind are the 2022 champions. William Victoria Factory also struggling to keep the pace of the top three. In the Aramex women's category, Ann Terpstra and Nicole Kohler have been utterly dominant. They've won every stage so far, yet the lead is still just under 3 minutes, 2:51 over Mona Mitterwalder and the 4-time second place finisher at the Absa Cape Epic, Candice Dill. Sophia Gomez Villafan and Samara Shepherd hang on to third place, and they are comfortably in that position with Delena Giraud and Hayley Preen, who've improved as the week has gone on. They're now in fourth place. Defending champion Vera Lossa and her American partner Alexa Skada are an hour and 20 minutes behind the race leaders. Welcome to the weekend. It is stage number 6. This is how it looks on the Toyota mixed category. Rian Weideman and Samantha Sanders lead that category quite comfortably at this stage for Toyota Gazoo Mixed. Hello and welcome to the weekend. This is the first of 2 days of the final weekend, the 20th edition of the Absa Cape Epic, fittingly concluding in the second oldest town in South Africa, Stellenbosch, which is the town that hosted the first grand finale of the original Absa Cape Epic back in 2004. Cooler weather, but the racing is likely to be absolutely searingly hot today. Less than 3 minutes separates the top 2 teams in the 2 elite categories, the men and the women. We're looking forward to an utterly fascinating day on the trails of Stellenbosch. It is a beautiful setting. Unfortunately, for certain reasons, the clouds have come down, the rain has arrived, not in a heavy fashion, but there's enough moisture around to create a little bit of slipperiness on the trails. Neil Gardner alongside me. Neil, the stats guru, the man who knows all about the history of this event. This is a great day of racing ahead of us.
Thanks, Gerald. It's going to be another epic day for sure. And we did see some, the weather forecast last night predicted cooler temperatures. And as we made our way to the race village this morning in Stellenbosch, we did encounter some drizzle, as the riders would as well. And that's a good thing. It gives a bit of relief from it's a respite from the heat we've been seeing in the past few days. And also for the trails, there's a little bit more grip in certain sections, but of course, as you just said, it can be slippery in others, especially over those rooty bits. And the temperature may be lower, which actually it kind of levels the playing field when it comes to the output of the top riders at the end, at the high end of the field, where the larger riders are affected more by the heat. Larger riders meaning riders like the likes of Matt Beers. And as you saw, it might not be a coincidence that it was his first stage win yesterday, when the temperatures started to come off the high of around about 40 degrees that we've been experiencing during the week. Talking about the racing is certainly not cooling off at all. It's red hot, and we're going to be hearing from the riders down on the ground in just a moment.
Yes, the race is preparing for 2 very, very intriguing days of racing. And we're going to be hearing from the major protagonists. We will be chatting to Bart Brenches down in the start line. But before then, let's hear from our 2 Bulls Media e-bikers who are going to give us a weather update from up on the trails.
Good morning. Stage 6 on this Absa Cape Epic 2024 weather report.
Slightly different situation than the previous days. It's gorillas in the fog, or in the mist actually. So yeah, it's
at least it's no dust, but
no dust, yes.
some parts are really
positive.
Dangerous. It's really slippery, and yeah, it's clouds. Not really a good weather to go for a ride, but I mean, we are here and we will go.
Some parts are hero dirt, some parts are like ice. So the dust on the hard pack, it's like a soapy layer where you can really quickly slip. And we slipped on the uphill already, so the downhills are even more treacherous. Yeah, but it is what it is. Welcome to Africa. Rain is a blessing.
Good morning. How are you feeling?
A little bit out of balance right now. It's been another early morning, but otherwise I'm glad it's much cooler temperatures. So looking forward to today.
different conditions, that's for sure. It's drizzling a little bit. It's around maybe below 20 degrees. Also, they expect not that warm today. Does that help for a better race, for better performance?
I think so. I think I'm a person that doesn't work so well in the heat, so for me it's definitely a good thing. But I think it's not raining too much, so the trails will just be perfect.
And also probably the terrain is able to absorb the water what's coming down now.
Yes, exactly. It will just settle the dust, and then it's going to be good riding out there.
And your expectations for today, what are the tactics?
Oh, it's still another hard day. It's like a shark teeth. It's up and down the whole time. I don't actually know this stage really well, but I hear it's good riding, so I'm looking forward to it. I think the racing's still going to be hot, especially in the front. So yeah, it'll be exciting to see.
And a lot of single track today involved?
I think so. We'll see. I mean, single track is great, but it also makes it quite hard.
It makes it more difficult to find your position, especially with your teammate riding together.
Yeah, I think we don't have that big of a problem for that because we're not that many. But yeah, it's definitely more unrhythmical riding that makes it hard.
It must be a nice stage if I look to the profile. It goes up and down the whole way, but it's going to be a hard one. A lot of climbing also.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of climbing. I think it's going to be a proper day out.
Good luck for today.
Thanks.
Hans, good morning. Good morning too. Dutch weather, Belgian weather, rain.
Yeah, it was a nice surprise when we wake up. We don't have to have the cool vest. We don't have to think about the extreme temperatures. So it's I hope a better day for us.
On paper it looks a very nice stage. It goes up and down the whole way. 88 kilometers, 2,400 meters of climbing. It's a hard one. What are the tactics?
First we have to see how are the legs today. But I think it will be a really nice stage for us. Some really technical terrain. And we really like it. Also the climbs will be not so long today, like the other days. So I think we will have to follow and then wait until the good moment is there, if we still have the legs.
How is the feeling? Morning, Samuel, Fabian, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel quite good. Also yesterday for me was a really good day. Also Samuel feel better, so we do a nice stage in recovery. We start a little bit slower, but then we can catch up some couples.
Today, different conditions. It has been extremely hot in the last few days, but today it's nice and cool. A little bit of drizzling. Does that help for a better race, for better performance?
Yeah, but for everyone's the same. I mean, but no, it was needed. I think today looks like the perfect condition for riding here in South Africa with the sandy trails, and also the track looks really good, really nice and demanding. So we see the second to last day, and hopefully we'll have some energy.
I see the arrow. Do you know something from this stage, the terrain? Have you been riding here? Have you been training here?
I think I've probably ridden most of the trails in the past, but not that I remember it too much now. But I know this area, so I should recognize it as we're riding.
It's on paper at least it looks like a hard stage, 88 kilometers, a lot of climbing involved. It's also marked as 4.5 wheels. Is it going to be that hard?
Yeah, I think the profile is literally up, down the entire time. I think it's going to be hard. We've got some fatigue in the legs obviously now too. So yeah, and I mean tomorrow's also not the easiest stage, it's shorter, but yeah, it's stage 6 and I think we're tired, so it will be hard.
How wet is it when you go out on the trails or on the road?
The road is a bit wet, but the trails and the gravel road is fine because I think it just helps a bit because it's not going to be that dusty. And also for the trails, I think it's good that it's a bit of the rain. Yeah.
So a clear vision today when you're riding in the group.
Yeah. Finally, I hope for a clean vision. Yeah.
And what are Philip, good morning. How are you feeling?
Morning. Yeah, it's a chilly morning here in Stellenbosch, but yeah, I think the fact that we're on the way home now, and it's only today and tomorrow. Yeah, warms up the heart at least. Close to the finish, and I think on the weekend here in Stellenbosch also it will pull some good crowds regardless of the weather. So I think we're in for a nice day today.
That will Matt Beers, Howard, how are you feeling?
Yeah, good. Obviously a big change in the weather. It's a lot cooler. So yeah, I think it's going to be a lot tougher racing today. Everyone feels a lot better in the cool. But yeah, it's a hard stage.
And how do the legs feel this early morning?
feel the same as any other day. I guess we'll see when it starts going up. But there's quite a hard kick at the beginning, so yeah, it'll warm the body up quick.
Stevie, good morning. Walking around with the umbrella.
Yeah, it's raining right now a little bit. Actually not too bad, but I think it affects the race quite a bit because it settled down the dust and everything, so the vision is more clear, and so I'm looking forward to it.
So, with these cooler conditions, many riders love to ride in it, because it have been extremely hot a few days ago, and also the last few days.
Yeah, I mean, it was 35 degrees in Wellington, now it's 17, so half the temperature. Quite extreme, but I like it quite well in these colder conditions, and so that's why I'm also more excited to hit the trails here around Stellenbosch.
It's going to be a hard Finny, good morning. You had a nice preparation yesterday.
Yeah, we came here quite fast, and good recovery and good sleep, so I think I feel a bit...
And good fun, I mean, coming here by helicopter.
Yeah, that was good. Checked out a bit the courses on the way, so yeah, it was cool.
Danish weather today?
It's definitely more Danish than it's been the previous days, so yeah, hopefully we can benefit a little bit.
Is this also right, Nicole? Anne, good morning. How are you feeling?
Yeah, like the feeling on the bike is actually pretty good still. I'm surprised how good it is. Maybe we will see how it is when we start racing, but until now it's good.
And the smile of you both is there every morning.
Yeah, of course. We are wearing these jerseys. We're still having fun. We're still excited. Of course, also tired, like everybody is. But we can still enjoy what we're doing here, and that's nice.
Today, a really nice stage if you look to the profile on paper, but a hard one. 4.5 wheels awarded this one. A lot of climbing involved. Maybe the Queen stage even, because we had the shorter stage a few days ago. But also a lot of single tracks. Does that suit you well?
I think so. I think for sure it will be a hard stage. Today is the last super long one, but also tomorrow will still be very hard. So I think both days can be like hard days for us, but it can also be good days if it's hard for the others. So we'll see.
I wish you good luck for today. You have to go and line up. There's not that much time left.
Thank you so much.
Cautious optimism, excitement at the change in the weather conditions as the riders rolled away this morning at 7 o'clock, and the UCI men taking the lead and leaving this beautiful Rustenberg playing field and the race village. They'll return here after 87 kilometers and 2,400 meters. Today's stage heading out towards the Simonsberg Conservancy, with a lot of lovely trails in that part of the world around the Mauratie wine farm, and then heading back towards the finish here via Ida's Valley, Botmaskop, and a little turn up and on the Berg Pad to Rustenberg. So this is the images from earlier today as they left the Rustenberg fields, and that little kicker just getting the legs warmed up on a morning like today. Getting those legs warmed up, well, you might just need it. Sabine Spitz is alongside us once again. Sabine, good morning.
Good morning, Gerald, and also good morning, Neil. Yeah, happy to be back, and I'm also expecting that we get maybe some changes on with the little rain we had this morning. Would be definitely also for the race would be good.
Yeah, I mean these conditions, it's such stark contrast to what you experience, or what the riders experience in Tulbach and Wellington. I mean, how does that, as a racer, would this get you excited about this type of weather? You prefer this?
I actually prefer the hot conditions, but I guess also with racing all the year in all kind of environment, so I also got used to these conditions, and of course it's also like your mindset plays quite into the game.
I have a question for you, Sabine. You're used to, your background is cross-country, where it would be a 90-minute effort, and perhaps further back, maybe a 120-minute effort. And you could say that the weather for that effort would be more or less consistent. Whereas at the Absa Cape Epic, during one stage, the temperatures can range from perhaps even 4 or 5 degrees right up into 30 degrees. How did you deal with that?
Yeah, so I always, yeah, I mean, speaking in general, that's a personal thing. I mean, how you can actually also deal with temperature changes, and but I mean, if you, let's say it's a colder start, you maybe you just start with arm warmers and you just get rid of that later in the stage, or if it's the other way around. As a pro, yeah, I mean, we had our stuff on the route, and when you could maybe get like a rain gilet also if you think you need that, but I guess also for the amateur riders, you just need to look that you have like maybe layers, and that you have the option also to during the day or during the stage that you can just take something off or put something on.
No layers on these riders, the elite women, the Aramex racing category, heading off alongside the cricket field and then out of Rustenberg today. Just under 3 minutes in both the men's and women's races today. As I said, the temperatures are markedly lower, below 20 degrees at the start. May rise a little bit later, but it looks as though this cloud cover is going to stay around for a little bit of the morning and maybe the entire morning whilst these elite races are riding. So not much in it, and now we are going straight to our live images of the elite men's race, still out on the beautiful Mauratie wine farm, where there are hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of spectators. You may well see them later on lining the route and at the 2 water points. And it's a maze of single track and trail that these riders are getting to enjoy here. Hans Becking sitting on the back here, the Dutch champion.
Well, the riders are about to reach the 47-kilometer mark. That's at the Mauratie water point. But at the first water point at Mauratie, there were 9 teams in the mix at the front. Toyota Specialized 91, World Bicycle Relief, Scott Caliban Dida, Canyon CD, Buff Megamo, Willia Vittori Factory, Willia Torpedo, and the Spanish pairing of Boom Martin and Munoz Moreno, along with Singer Racing. Steve John and Hartman, we heard from Steve John earlier, former stage winner. He likes the more miserable conditions. Well, he certainly seems to perform well in the miserable conditions. This is his territory for sure. And we're behind the Dutch champion, Hans Becking, at the moment. They had a great first 3 days, great showing the prologue 3rd spot, and then won the following stage, getting into they won the 4th stage. Yes, apologies, the 3rd stage, and taking over the leaders' jerseys from the pairing of Schurter and Foster.
Lots of blue gum forests here, the forestry trails here, a real maze, and you lose sight of the riders very quickly here, not only from our perspective, but also from the riders' perspective. Canyon City, the Andreas Seewald, Mark Stutzman combination have been getting stronger and stronger all week.
Yeah, and especially you mentioned the maze at the Mauratie trails, and it's really difficult in a way. If a team can just make a little bit of gap, it's so quickly out of sight and can pull away. And also a bit still the unknown factor is, we heard earlier the comment from Stefan Salm and Thomas Dietsch. So my experience is also like it really depends on how much rain it got, or this little drizzle, if it could just bind the dust, or it created like a slippery layer, because that I also remember from 2016. We also had here when we went into the Mauratie trails, and it got quite slippery. But it was definitely a bit more rain than we had this morning.
Yeah, we didn't have a copious amount of rain, and you'll probably see dust later on today, because it hasn't really been that heavy, this rain. But just as interesting to see Canyon on the front there, Canyon City. Their motivation is to try and get onto the podium, because Buff Megamo, 8:43 behind the leaders, but just 3 minutes behind them are Canyon City. So that's why Andreas Seewald and Stutzman are chasing for all they're worth, because they get the idea that Buff Megamo are under a bit of pressure today.
Well, Buff Megamo are in the mix there, and I have to correct myself. Buff Megamo won stage 2 of the 2024 Absa Cape Epic just a few days ago. It seems like a lifetime ago for them, and they've gone through highs and the lows, but back in contention right now.
This is the Toyota Tough section, Methuselah it's called, around 1.3 kilometers of incredible trail. Most of these trails today are the handiwork of a man, somewhat of the godfather of trail building in these parts, Mauratie. He runs Dirtopia up there at Mauratie, which is the trail center, and you can go and explore these trails on Mauratie via Dirtopia. But Methuselah is the trail that has been designated the Toyota Tough section today. Methuselah lived until he was 969. Some may say that Mauratie has been around that long because he's did some of these trails. Oh, a little wrong turn there by one of the canyon men. So he's just lost a position, and Matt Beers goes into second position on the trails here. This is the lead group enjoying the Toyota Tough section, Methuselah.
Well, Matt Beers not letting Stutzman in at all because they saw the early aggression, the aggressive pace just set by, there was a bit of a gap caused by, or created by Canyon Seedy, and that's certainly plays into the hands of Hans Becking and Wout Alleman. Wout Alleman and Hans Becking losing time overall yesterday to the German and the Swiss rider. They are sitting, Canyon Seedy are sitting in 4th overall, just over 3 minutes behind the Dutch-Belgian pairing.
But we could see quite clearly in this corner it's still quite dusty. So yeah, so it's I think it's we don't have the risk that riders are crashing because of the slippery surface, and but it was just the rides, like also the other riders mentioned earlier, that just the vision is clearer. You don't ride in the dust of others, and it helps a bit maybe also just with your vision.
They're closing in on water point number 2 here. There's that water is not as a result of last night's rain, that is for sure.
And this is the water point, eh?
They close in right into it. There it is. Our second water point at 47 kilometers into today's 87 kilometers stage. They flash through there, and perhaps a bottle snatched as they headed out. But yes, you know, it is cooler today, but drinking and eating still vital to the riders today to keep fueled up, because they're expending huge amounts of energy, and bearing in mind they've had 6 big days behind them as well, so they have to keep that going. Howard Grotz just tucking in nicely there, the American teammate of Matt Beers. And they are the men who won yesterday's stage and have the yellow jerseys today by 2 minutes and 57 seconds from World Bicycle Relief. Can Nino Schurter and Sebastian Finney engineer some way of clawing back time today, Sabine? Do you foresee that at all?
Yeah, Sebastian Finney, he looked tired yesterday. Also, he really had problems in the way to keep Nino's wheel or stay on Nino's wheel. Yeah, we just saw, he probably also just hoped that the shorter stage and having a bit more recovery, more rest, that helped in a way for the final 2 days, because also today and tomorrow it's gonna be a tough one. It's not an easy rolling on the Grand Finale stage. Yeah, it's gonna be still tough.
Well, that just will tell you how far they are. Much of the trail there, the Toyota Tough section have just passed through Mauratie and heading for Knorrhoek and then Morgenhof, new trails there, and then on their way out over Rustenberg again and to Ida's Valley trails. Botmaskop is the sting in the tail, and down the sensational Doctor single track towards Stellenbosch, and a little kicker just before they get to Rustenberg here, which will not be too much of an issue for these riders, but it'll certainly give those further back in the field a much cause for pain, because they'll be able to see and almost hear the finish just below them before coming round to the finish. This packed lead group charging away from Mauratie and into the Uitkyk trails, and really led by Wout Alleman on the frontier, trying to perhaps just look after his teammate Hans Becking, who's further back in the pack of this lead group.
And in that lead group, if we were to list all the teams, if you can just past your, just go down the list here. There is one major team missing from this list, and that is the Orbia Liet Speed Company team. We just heard from down on the trail that Lucas Baum has retired from the race. He said he was suffering from a stomach bug over the last day or so and trying to push through, but unable to put down any kind of significant power, and he's allowed his partner Georg Geiger to continue without him. So bad news for the Orbia Liet Speed Company team, the 2022 champions. They are now out of the race and leaving it to Toyota Specialized 91, Canyon CD, Willia Vittoria Factory, World Bicycle Relief, Team KMC, Buff Megamo, and Willia Topardo, the pairing of Daniel Gesma, the Austrian, and the Italian Jacob Dorigoni.
Well, a few new names in this, and of course that withdrawal of Orbia will mean that Willia Vittoria will move up a position at this stage in the general classification to 4th place. So the fighting down below, not just at the very sharp end, but minor placings, plenty of competition there, and hence these teams really not letting each other go at all as they race flat out here, holding nothing back on this penultimate day in Stellenbosch.
In the men's category, we've got really a race between 1st and 2nd, and then a race between 4th and 3rd. And 4th and 3rd race consists of, the two teams in the mix are Canyon CD and Buff Megamo. 3 minutes between them, with Buff Megamo still holding on to 3rd spot.
This is our second group on the road here. Scott Calabandina and the Clementita team. They are just a few seconds, probably about 18-20 seconds behind this elite group of racers. The yellow jerseys in prime position and in the position to defend that total. Now the figure of Hans Becking goes to the front in the Dutch champions jersey. And good showing from the Italian pair, Fabian Ravensteiner and Samuele Porra. You heard them pre-race saying that they are feeling better and better. This is a stage they've done well in the past. Bart Alleman comes on the outside as well. That's Becking's partner in the European champions jersey. They are targeting a stage win here, and also, of course, looking to defend their position on general classification from Canyon City. That's the race within a race here on stage number 6 of the Absa Cape Epic. The Austrian champion Daniel Gesma. First sighting of Daniel Gesma, an epic legend and a man who has performed wonders at this event in the past. He's riding with Jacob Dorigoni, the Italian, at this year's race for Willia Topardo. Great support for the Willia Vittoria Factory team as well. So under the trees here, we may well be trying to find our leading women, and indeed we have in the Aramex women's category. And this is a familiar picture that we've seen pretty much throughout this week. The pair of Cannondale Factory Racing, Candice Lill and Mona Mitterweiler, and just behind them, the race leaders, Ghost Factory Racing and Anne Terpstra and Nicole Koller, who've looked, dare I say it, untouchable in this race, despite the fact that it's less than 3 minutes between them, but they've not shown any chink in their armor at all this week, Sabine.
Yeah, and earlier there was at the last checkpoint or split time, there was also still the Toyota Specialized 91 team, Sofia Gomez Villafane and Samara Shepard with these two teams. But now it seems like they dropped back, and so Candice is now here just in the lead, and in actual fact they need to make a move. They are under pressure. If they want to still make a change, they have to put pressure onto the Ghost ladies, Anna Terpstra and Nicole Koller.
Well, the New Zealander Samara Shepard looks to be suffering just a little bit here as Sofia Gomez Villafane looks over her shoulder and encourages her. And they made a bit of an attack earlier, but that is a telling sign. Gomez Villafane giving Samara Shepard a push up this climb, and that tells you a story. The fatigue over the last 5 or 6 days has taken a toll on Shepard, And it's the first Absa Cape epic journey for her. And this is what the race does. It saps your energy every day.
Yeah, and it's also during these 8 days you can have a weekday, and Samara actually got a bit stronger in between, but now it seems like that she had today also a bad day.
Earlier in the day, in this stage, just before that first water point, there was a bit of an attack from this pair. They tried to put the leading two under pressure. It didn't last too long, and they were hunted down and caught on the next little gradient that went uphill. So it's going to be a long battle for this pair. Their position on the general classification is rock solid. They're well. They are the next team behind the B4 private clients are an hour and 13 behind the leaders. On the right-hand side, Ghost Factory Racing, the race leaders of Ann Terpstra and Nicole Kohler. Alongside them, Cannondale Factory Racing, Candice Lill and Mona Mitterwalder, the first and second place finishers at the World Marathon Championships last year. And they are chasing the Lill-Mitterwalder combination a possible win here in the Absa Cape Epic. They started today 2 minutes and 51 seconds behind the race leaders in the orange jerseys. Doesn't sound like a lot, but the dominance that Terpstra and Kohler have shown this week suggests that it's going to take something very, very special from Lill and Mitterwalder if they're to win this race.
On paper, Gerald, this is still the closest race we've seen in the women's category so far, but that doesn't speak about the, as you said, the dominance, the fact that there is almost zero chink in the armor of the Ghost Factory Racing team. As we saw Mona Mitterwalder, there's just a slight gap there. Just keep an eye on that, just to watch Mona Mitterwalder carefully to see if there are any signs of weakness. The pairing of her and Candice Lill, they have vowed every single day to keep fighting and keep putting pressure on Ghost Factory Racing, and hoping for just any sign of weakness. If they smell blood, they're going to capitalize as much as they can and try to eat into that deficit and get some time on their rivals, Ghost Factory Racing. Nicole Kohler, the former junior world champion in the cross-country Olympic discipline, and also a road world champion in the team time trial mixed relay discipline. And that was in 2022. And her partner, Anna Terpstra, winner of 2 World Cups and a multiple national champion of the Netherlands.
But we also had in previous years still changes of the leader treated jersey on the second last or the last day. So, and a 2 minutes or close to 3 minutes gap, it can get eaten away very, very quickly.
Yes, as comfortable as those jerseys have been on Terpstra and Kohler throughout the week, they know only too well. They would have done their homework and knew what happened last year. The lead changed hands in a dramatic penultimate day in Lawrenceford when rain, mud and hectic weather conditions played a big role. So, yep, they are vigilant and wary of the threat posed by Cannondale Factory Racing. Candice Lill knows these trails extremely well. They all do. They've spent a lot of time, all these women, training and preparing for their cross-country years in the past, and they know what they're in for here today as they head into these beautiful trails around Mauratie, this greater Simonsberg Conservancy area. Spectacular. This is to the north-west of Stellenbosch, so they are exploring those trails. On the final day, they'll be exploring the trails on a completely different direction in the Jonkershoek Valley of Stellenbosch. Switchback climb as they are heading up into the Conservancy, and the pace being set by Nicole Kohler here. Very, very comfortable she has looked in a maiden Absa Cape Epic, as has Ann Terpstra. A combination that has clearly worked, and a combination that haven't ridden this deep into a race before. They've performed well on other stage races, but not as over 8 days. But they have looked very, very comfortable indeed. There are Masters leaders, Carl Platt and Tommy Misser, and just in front of them, Samara Shepherd, and way ahead of her is Sophia Gomez via fun. It's a difficult situation when one rider is starting to flag and the other is feeling so strong. You have to temper the urge and the desire to push hard and drive ahead. Patience is required, and understanding of your partner's difficulties. Gap is opening back to third place, but no gaps here. Mitterwalde is the last rider in this group.
So for Mona, definitely also it was an advantage that the rain or this little drizzle had settled a bit of dust. She was very cautious in the downhill, so riding behind the others with the dust. For her, vision is very important and vigilant.
Tommy Visser and Carl Platt just getting past Samara Shepherd here and making their way up this trail. They'll do so only when it is expressly that they can, without causing any issues.
Yeah, they are bound by the rules of the race to not interfere with the women's racing in any way at all, and even by overtaking them and letting the women, or the women then could potentially sit on their wheels and benefit from the slipstream. But the rules of the race do dictate that two different categories are not permitted to be riding together. And Carl Platt will know very well, and obviously the sportsmanship of the sport, the camaraderie of the sport, will also oblige them to, or they'll be compelled by their sportsmanship not to interfere, overtake at an appropriate time. Back with the front.
Yeah, they'll be not too long closing in on this group of riders. Kohler, Lil, Terpstra and Mitterwalde.
When we say we haven't seen a single sign of weakness from Ghost Factory Racing, we really mean that there has never been a single, almost no daylight between the two teams and between the two riders of Ghost Factory Racing, except when what we see now with Candice Lil getting between the two riders, and they have defended that. They have, in fact, we've seen in the past few days Nicole Collar, in fact, edging out any kind of moves and holding their ground. They've seen any attacks from the likes of Mona Mitterwalde, so we're trying to get a good position on the trail, and Nicole Collar accelerated and keeping her out of that position, making sure that they hit that last section of trail yesterday. In fact, we saw that was pivotal in their victory, and the two Ghost Factory Racing riders were together, and they could use their cross-country skills to their benefit and create just a bit of a gap on the downhill, and that made all the difference.
Yeah, and we see in a picture that Sophia Villafane, yeah, she also pulled a little bit away from Samara Shepherd and Jessie Nixon, our e-bike camera woman behind Samara Shepherd. You could see normally also in the riding style, like if a rider's getting more tired, so the tendency to actually ride bigger gears, that the cadence comes down, that's definitely a signal or a sign of tiredness. And we could see definitely with the Ghost woman, that they still have a nice. We're trying to keep also a nice pedal stroke, a high cadence, and also for our Anther riders out there, it's if you keep like a higher cadence, it also helps you in the long shot. Even if you start, if you remind yourself in the early stages, in the early days, try always to keep like a little bit a higher cadence. It helps.
Saves your legs.
It helps you on the later days or the later days in the week.
And you're saying pushing the lower gears. If you're on the back foot and you're pushing lower gears, it starts to compound the fatigue going into the later days.
Absolutely. And I would say very few people have legs like Nino Schurter, who can push a 38 chain blade.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the difference is that Nino Schurter can push a 38 chain blade and still keep a high cadence.
Here he is. On the front, Nino Schurter. Sebastian Finney is the man behind him. Unfortunately, just lost him there as we got an image of Nino Schurter on the front there, and a look over his shoulder by Daniel Gesmar looking for his partner, Jacob Dorigoni. So it looks as though this group has splintered a little as they've been climbing away from the Morgenhof trails, and so the gaps are starting to appear in the men's race. Thomas Ditch and Stefan Sam, the two men, I think they've separated into following those two groups. And now we are back in the beautiful Mauratie wine farm, the Methuselah trail. Methuselah, in this sense, it refers to the size of a champagne bottle. Methuselah is a 6-liter bottle. They've done Nebuchadnezzar as well. The Nebuchadnezzar is a 15-liter bottle, another name of a trail here. But Methuselah is the Toyota Tough section, and these riders are flowing down this beautiful trail. In and out of the forests, it's a maze of trails here in the Mauratie wine farm, which incidentally is not quite as old as Methuselah was, at 339 years. But it was established by Lawrence Kamfer and Sella van der Kaap, and those two names adorn their flagships, reds and whites, at this beautiful farm.
We certainly are in wine country and in mountain biking country, and the two are inextricably linked in the Western Cape, with many of the wine farmers being cyclists and building and helping and contributing to the amazing trail network that we see today, and in fact the entire week.
Yeah, I mean the Melk family have ownership of this farm now. Ronnie Melk since 1987. In fact, the first Melk owned the farm in 1763. But now Rake Melk is the man, the owner of the farm now, and he loves riding his bike around here. He calls his favorite ride the Doctor's Ward round. Around 27 k's, 800 meters of climbing, and no doubt it incorporates a visit to Methuselah as well.
Well, we're just about to see the riders approach the Morgenhof contour. Morgenhof, another wine farm, and we'll expect them. They're well past the 50-kilometer mark, and when they hit Morgenhof, that is a USN hydro point. It'll be after the Knorrhoek descent, and Morgenhof marks the 60-kilometer mark, and we'll be keeping an eye on just how the riders are doing and what the time checks are. You can see there down below the Willier factory racing team, the Willier Vittoria team, and we are going to be keeping an eye on Nino Schurter. We do not see the red Danish National Championships jersey of Sebastian Finney. Where is he? We'll keep you updated as soon as we know more.
Yeah, Beck and Alleman on the front here, Buff Mega, then Willier Vittoria, then the yellow jerseys. It's sketchy stuff as they're charging down here, and just keeping it steady. And if you're second, third, fourth wheel there, perhaps is Schurter as they come out of the trees. We just missed them there. It may have been them. Flashing down not too far off the back. You can rest assured he won't be too far behind the pace here with Nino Schurter.
This is a hard day out, and we heard Vera Loza talking about that jagged tooth profile, that shark tooth profile. Just
there they are.
Endless, just endless sharp rises and tricky technical climbs and sharp climbs all the way through the race. We take things, when we look at it more of a macro point of view, but out on the trails there are some very steep little sections that might not be obvious on the profile, but could create that all-important gap that the front runners are looking for, the advantage over their rivals. Any sign of weakness, any bad moment will be capitalized on, and there'll be absolutely no mercy in this final, in the last weekend, the weekend in Stellenbosch.
32 kilometers to go for elite men, and that's Sebastian Finney in the red jersey, and ahead of him his partner Nino Schurter, the world cross-country champion, and chasing for all they're worth now because they've lost ground on that lead group of 4 teams, and most importantly for them, the yellow jerseys in that. Behind them, Sergio Manticon and his partner Peter Vakoc. So they are chasing hard. Beg your pardon, not Vakoc is Manticon's partner, but they are chasing for all they're worth here to try and close the gap.
Canyon City had a great day yesterday with and also made full use of their backup team. Their backup team helping them more or less like road tactics, guide them to the front of the race so they could make their move and cause a decisive split. And just a recap on Toyota 91, Toyota Specialized 91 have a 2-minute and 57-second gap over their nearest rivals, World Bicycle Relief on the overall general classification going into stage 5, and now very much in the thick of the action of stage 5. We see Sebastian Finney and Nina Schotter falling off the group, and Hans Becking and Wout Alleman very much in that group, along with Canyon Seedy. Albeit lead speed company going into the stage with an advantage, but obviously really with having them withdrawn, it makes it more wide open, and we're back with the women.
Yes, that was the leading women, so the two teams with the master men who have now caught them in the blue NTT Data master jerseys. The orange Aramex leaders jerseys just up ahead of them, and perhaps an opportunity now for the open road for the masters to try and get past them. There are not many opportunities here. There's so much single track.
Yeah, so we're already trying a way to pass the ladies before heading actually here into the Toyota technical terrain section.
So up they go into the forest. We'll lose sight of them briefly as they make their way onto these trails in Mauratie. Terpstra and Kohler with Mitterwallner and Lil, and there's the blue jerseys. They've got themselves in the middle of that
yeah,
group
so
there.
Mona Mitterwallner is now a bit stuck, I wouldn't say stuck, but actually got yeah, like separated from the other two teams, or from her team, from Candice Lil and the Ghost Factory Racing team.
Well, this is yeah, down into the Methuselah Toyota tough section. This isn't a great situation for Candice Lil and Mona Mitterwallner with the masters there. You feel they may have just given it a moment to wait until they can get past them on a wider section. They were trying to get past there, Carl Platt and Tommy Misa, but Nicole Kohler and Terpstra have Candice Lil in between them as they go down Methuselah. Mona Mitterwallner just on the back of this group is one of the difficulties. I mean,
it's always a tricky situation, yeah. When you have like the different categories, if they caught up to each other, and you don't know. You're also seeing it also from the side or from the side from Carl Platt. Okay, you don't want to interfere actually with the women's race, but on the other hand, also you also don't want to lose time for your own race for that competition. But in general, he's very fair and not in a way risks or takes risks with overtaking the women's.
Well, they've got past them on the Methuselah trail. So Missa, who is a downhiller, was a world-class downhiller, he and Carl Platt
Carl Platt as well. So
also,
in his junior years,
yeah, absolutely. Using the skills, and off they go, and getting themselves out of the way. The blue jerseys, the NTT Masters leaders, and you know, this is just a very small little example of why the UCI, RMX UCI Women's have their own start group now. It wasn't always the case at the Absa Cape Epic.
I guess it also with the UCI status that you also have then in all the races like that you have like own, or that the women's really also have their own race, and yeah, and also what is also not allowed, that women can now take a draft or can sit on the wheel from men, but also the other way around. So the categories need to stay clean. They just allowed to race within the category and not using other categories.
Well, it's good to see that the top two women's team are together again, and they're reaching the water point, and that is at the 47-kilometer mark, and they are very much just looking at the time. They're 9:30, so after an hour and a half or 2.5 hours of racing, they reached the Mauratie water point, and now it's all about looking back to see what the gap is between them and Toyota Specialized 91.
It's quite sizable as they leave that water point, perhaps a bottle snatched, and away they go. Of course, as we've been saying all week in the wine farms, it is peak harvest time here winemaker Hutton de Villiers is the man on Mauratie's estate. He's in his 10th harvest on the farm. It's a busy, busy time. And thanks to the landowners and these farmers for allowing the race to traverse through their lands and at such a busy time.
And, seeing the top 2 women's teams in the race, and the women's cycling has come on, has developed hugely in the last few years, certainly hugely in the time that I've been at the race. And starting one of the big moments in women's cycling was equal prize money and the Absa Cape Epic. One of the first events to spearhead that, and since then there have been some tremendous developments. The Ghost Factory Racing Team is an all-women team. There is a factory racing team with no men. It's an all-women team, and some other great movements in cycling. We've seen earlier some of the riders are riding the Liv brand, and Liv is also an exclusively women brand. Only women work on the Liv brand. Liv is part of the giant stable of brands. Giant Bicycles, one of the biggest brands in the world, in fact the biggest brand in the world, and great to see the sport developing as it has.
So through the USN Hydro point, the leading men now at just on 61 kilometers there and thereabouts, and Hans Becking and Wout Alleman are looking as though they are putting their names in lights today. Alleman, the European champion, in front, Becking in the Dutch champion's jersey. They were in front as they went through the Mauratie section, and we don't see anyone behind them here except our Bulls Media e-bike.
Well,
either there's a big gap. There we go.
We can see that Buff Megama are highly motivated today. They had an amazing first 3 days in the race, and we also can't forget that they had a couple of bad days after it. So they had a day in yellow, which was a good day for them. Another day in yellow, a very bad day, where they lost that yellow jersey to Toyota Specialized 91. But today looks like they're pretty good. We're down with Stefan Sam on the Bulls Media e-bike, and we're hoping to get some information from him down on the trails. Stefan.
Hey, Neil, how are you? Yeah, lots happening now. We have a breakaway, Hans Becking and Wout. They tried it in a single track. Looks like it's coming back.
You're going to be feeling the heat from behind you there, Stefan.
Yeah. I need to find a
There they are.
in.
So the gap's been closed, and you're now at the tail end. Some new faces and new riders in this group, Stefan.
Netherlands. Trying for the podium.
Connection with Stefan is just not as we would like, so we can't hear exactly what he's saying. They're going through the Morgenhof trails. This is Tim Swinger and Thijs Reiter, the KMC pair, who have put themselves in that lead group there. So they're going very, very nicely. And this is Pavel Bernas and Sergio Manticon. They are a little bit off the back of that group now.
And significantly?
And, yep. There is Sebastian Finney and his partner Nino Schurter.
Well, they're second place on overall, going into the stage with 2 minutes and 57 disadvantage or deficit to Toyota Specialized 91 and Buff Megamo at 8:43, and that time gap is looks like it's under threat again. And the gap between Buff Megamo and World Bicycle Relief is around about 5 minutes and 25 seconds. So Buff Megamo team will be looking to eat into that deficit of 5 minutes and 25. Buff Megamo 8:23 back on Toyota Specialized 91. The team of Beers and Grotz look like the pendulum is swinging in their favor, but pendulum certainly not swinging in the favor of Nino Schurter and Sebastian Finney.
They are leaving Morgenhof, one of the many wine farms they passed through today, and this is the gap to the leaders. Thomas Deitch is with Nino Schurter and Sebastian Finney. Stefan Sam, as we just saw there, he's with that lead group. So that gap is it's yo-yoing, but Nino Schurter and Sebastian Finney really cannot afford to let it get any bigger. They're going to be coming under some pressure. Buff Megamo clearly on a good day today. Bart Alleman and Hans Becking.
Yeah, maybe also like the cooler temperature played also in their favor. And I mean, Wout, he had very strong, he was very strong at the beginning, and when he had in between 2 days where he was definitely suffering, and maybe also like just a cooler temperature for the Dutch Belgian pairing does good, does any good.
This is the lead group. The blue jerseys, unfamiliar at this stage of the at this part of the race this week, have made an appearance. That is Reuter and Sminger, Tim Sminger and Thijs Reuter, the KMC pair. So they are enjoying a very, very good day, and looking to snatch a stage win whilst the GC races, the GC teams fight it out. Canyon City, Andreas Seewald and Mark Stutzman still in the mix here. They've also got stronger and stronger. Will be ruining a slow start to the week. Likewise, Fabian Ravenstein and Samuel Poro.
Well, the race certainly is heating up as they pass through the escalator section, the escalator part of the trails today. And the local riders will know the escalator section, and they'll know exactly what the challenges that it poses and how much of a selection it can create in the in this race at this point. We are well past the 60-kilometer mark and approaching the Idis Valley trails, and very soon we'll be catching a glimpse of the Idis Valley Dam, and as they head towards the last main obstacle of the day, Botmaskop, and the technical trail down the Doctor.
If the trail names are always programmed, then an escalator is better than an elevator.
Oh yes, yes, Finney. Look at the gap there, Finney and Schurter.
Fantastic visuals here. We can really get a sense of what is happening in the racing. It's quite rare. With this densely packed network of trails we saw on the map, the concentration on this particular area around Mauratie and heading out of the Mauratie area is very dense, and it allows the visuals to really get a sense of where the riders are out on the trail. And the time gaps are one thing, but when you can see the riders, it just gives us a real sense of the pace set by Buff Megamo at the front. Hans Becking in his National Championships jersey, and Wout Alleman will be in close attendance in his European Championships jersey. And also right there where the action is, the yellow jerseys in close attendance, watching closely. Couldn't say riding defensively because they are really at the very front of affairs, but we're going to be keeping an eye on the Canyon City team. They have certainly come good throughout the week. They had a disappointing first couple of days, and Andreas Seewald did mention that he'd made a few mistakes, and there is, it looks like Mark Stutzman there. But where is his partner?
Where is his partner? And there's only one KMC rider in this little group here. The yellow jersey is quite happy to let Becking and Alleman do the work here. Sharp hairpin here for the Dutchman and the Belgian to get around. All of them, finally they get around. There we come.
We just saw Seewald there.
Seewald, and they join, linking up with him. Tight turns here as they make their way up to the escalator. And there is Howard Grotz.
Seewald just pulling through there. And yeah.
Just Seewald having to just work a little bit harder here. They did win a stage early this week in Tulbach, the Rustenberg Valley stage. So they are getting stronger and stronger all the way through the week.
The KMC team very much in touch as well. And credit to them, it looks like, just like we saw yesterday with the Bulls team, the Bulls Mavericks team of Huber and Simon Stibjan. They picked yesterday as their stage, and KMC looks like they have picked today. But they've got some big rivals to contend with. If they do make it all the way into the start-finish shoot, if there is a sprint finish, they've got some big names to overcome, so a big job to do. And also there is the climb of Botmaskop still to surmount. And if there is a bit of distance in the trails right now, a bit of distance between the riders now, that's not necessarily a sign that they will be in the mix in the absolute finale, and as things really start to ramp up. And definitely looking on form again. Buff Megamo, resurgent Buff Megamo after a disappointing couple of days for them. And Alleman and Becking pairing are back on the front of affairs.
Well, they're just under 6 minutes behind World Bicycle Relief on general classification. So unless things are unraveling spectacularly for Finney and Shirt, it's unlikely that they're going to take all that time back today. But if they stay where they are and they're going as strongly as they are now, they're going to eat into that 6-minute deficit and close in on the second place team, World Bicycle Elite. Buff Megamo, remember, wore the yellow jerseys for 2 days in this race after they took them from Schurter and Finney on stage 1 in Tilbach.
Now we just caught a glimpse earlier of Matt Beers looking back to his partner Howard Grotz, and just maybe a little bit of a gap there. We're going to catch some visuals. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see a little bit of a wider shot of just how Matt Beers and his partner Howard Grotz are doing, but it looks like they're still very much in touch with the sharp end of the field. And as they approach, they're almost at the Idis Valley Trails now, and we'll see the dam in a moment. And just after that section, they'll be cutting through a cool tunnel. You'll be able to see them riding through a tunnel. It's about 100 meters or so, the tunnel. With the light at the end of the tunnel, it's almost in complete darkness. And they'll be popping out the other side, and then it'll be the ascent up Botmaskop. And we've talked about the doctor, the trail down. Should be no problem for these top professionals. But Buff Megamo looking dominant at the front. Both teams both members of the team at the front.
It's
and
steep,
this
isn't
is
it?
a steep climb. You can see from the cadence and the speed. And what we can't see is the power, but we can be assured that that power that is going down on those pedals is considerable, considering the gaps that we've seen form back behind the very head of the field.
For the Toyota Specialized 91 pair, they with that situation is actually pretty good for them. Buff Megamo on the front have motivation to try and close the gap to World Bicycle Elite, but they're 8 minutes and 43 behind Toyota Specialized, so they don't need to worry too much because their closest rivals are losing time behind them, World Bicycle Relief, so they're in a good position right now. But my word, this is steep.
It's steep, yeah. Good position for the yellow jerseys. They have the luxury of being able to benefit from the agendas and the well-fought agendas and well-represented agendas of the other teams. And Hans Becking and the Dutchman, the Belgian Wout Alleman, they'll be looking to put time into Nino Schurter, hoping to get into second spot. Nino Schurter and Sebastian Finney. Just a bit of pressure on them, and all that Beers and Grotz have to do is mark that, and then that will help them also put time into Finney and Schurter. So benefiting from this certainly are the yellow jerseys, and also looking for perhaps another stage win, Becking and Alleman.
Yeah, the first rider from the KMC team who is sitting here behind Wout Alleman and Hans Becking. He better also just takes care that he doesn't pull away too much from his partner. I think it's in the lead that must be Tim Smeng.
Yeah, we still haven't seen him come around the corner. This could be
a gap there,
bad sign for the pairing, for the KMC team. You need to keep an eye out. He is obliged by the rules of the race to wait, but there he is with the Canyon CD team. They have slipped off the front. Canyon CD struggling on the day, but still they were just around about 3 minutes off the back on overall general classification, off Buff Megamo, breathing down their necks. The pendulum looked like it was swinging in their favor, but not to be today. Becking and Alleman are back in the action at the head of affairs and putting time into Canyon CD. So Canyon CD hoping for that podium on overall, as they wanted to stay on the podium for overall general classification at the grand finale in Stellenbosch. And 1 day in, 1 day to go. It looks like it could be under threat. That dream of standing on the podium is not looking good at the moment.
Glance over his shoulder there by Tim Sminger, looking for his partner.
He better make sure that his partner is also with him.
He's backing him to catch him, isn't he? Because he's staying with this group and saying, well, he'll come back to me. I'm sure he'll come back to me.
Yeah, but you also, I mean, it can also be just if there is a mechanical and his partner has to stop. I mean, the riders, we are not allowed to be actually more than 2 minutes apart. And especially if it comes to another split time or like a checkpoint, so which are the riders don't know where these mats are, so you have to make sure that you always stay in touch with your partner.
it looked like he was still in touch, certainly within the 2-minute rule. But when the riders go out of sight, it can be under threat. You never know what might happen, and if, like you said, Sabine, if there's a mechanical, you just don't know, and if you carry on, there's a significant risk.
And I mean, it's like you have a lot of corners. You get into the woods. Like, I mean, if his partner would just now on the left-hand side from the picture would have a technical, and he would just carry on, and he wouldn't know. Yeah, he wouldn't
Game
see that,
over.
no.
Absolutely. It's a risky strategy by the KMC team right now. Seerwald and Stutzman opted to both drop back and find themselves together on the trail. That's not a problem, because at one stage there was a separation there. But at front, it is all about Becking and Alleman trying to bring their race back together again after a tough middle portion of this year's Absa Cape Epic for the Dutchman and the Belgian. And Becking looking as though he's found his legs this week, today, and just loving these trails.
Well, dare we say it, but Becky and Alleman may want to be putting pressure on Toyota Specialized 91 on this final climb, on the Botmaskop climb, and they have not left the front. They are putting down the power, and they know they've distanced their rivals, Victoria Factory, World Bicycle Relief, KMC, and they'll be looking to just hopefully see a chink in the armor of Matt Beers and Howard Grotz. So far, not. So far, we've seen Grotz match Matt Beers' high pace, high power, pedal stroke for pedal stroke, and in all of the efforts of Team Buff Megamo, they have managed to get rid of the team of Canyon Seedy, and most importantly, for them anyway, the World Bicycle Relief team. Nino Schurter and Sebastian Finney losing time hand over fist on the day.
Just to repeat that Orbea Liet Speed Company, you might be wondering where they are. Unfortunately, Lucas Baum withdrew at the first water point due to a stomach ailment. He was suffering with it yesterday, and so Gael Gege is on his own in the race now, but Lucas Baum and Gael Gege's hopes of repeating their 2022 victory, or even second place they achieved last year, are gone now, sadly, for the Orbea Speed Elite Company pair. They were in 5th place going into today's stage, 20 minutes behind the leaders, but no longer as a combination. Smenger keeps looking behind his shoulder to see where his partner is at this stage. I think they are on the upper reaches of Rustenberg farm at the moment, as they make their way down to the little road crossing and then into the Iders Valley trails. And high speed down here. They'll be coming out very shortly. There is Schurter and Finney, and above, in front of him, Pavel Bernas and Sergio Manticon. It's got kind of a leader, but Schurter and Finney are losing time. They are under pressure at this stage. 2:57 behind Specialized, but now Buff Megamo up front, leading the race, are building on a lead and trying to eat into the second place of World Bicycle Relief.
I would just see from the map, we see Thomas Ditch is approaching the 65 kilometer mark, and Thomas Ditch, the Bulls Media e-bike rider, means that he is with the main field. Can't see if he's with the main field, but he's certainly close to the front of the race. So we should see the race reaching the 65 kilometer mark, and that is quite close to the 10 Ks to go. And then we'll catch a glimpse of the Idus Dam as they hit the Idus Valley trails, and then they will be heading through the Helshoek to Calvert and the final ascent of the day.
Well, Finney on the frontier and Schurter. Obviously, Finney is the man who is battling a little bit. Schurter doing the right thing as the slightly stronger man, letting the man who's feeling the pain just set the pace, go at his pace. Schurter. Oh, is that a fall? On the right-hand side there, you can see mud and dirt on the right-hand side of the fence of Schurter. So, in fact, is that might not be Nino Schurter there. this is the chase group. High-speed racing and drama on this sixth stage of the Absa Cape Epic. Flying through the farmyards, and the race is on.
Quite right.
Indeed, yes.
This is shorter,
It is
yeah.
shorter, yeah.
There's
He's
like-
had the fall.
Schurter has crashed.
So that's their position. What's happened this week for World Bicycle Relief. They won the prologue, second on stages 1 and 2 to Becking and Alleman, and then to the Canyon City pair. Disappointing stage 3, the transition stage from Tilbach to Wellington, and then they won the Queen stage. So put themselves right back in the frame there. Change in the guard up front in the lead group. This is Matt Beers and Howard Grotz, who've gone to the front of the race now, starting to open the gap perhaps as well to Nino Schurter and Sebastian Finney, who look like they're going to be the losers today, the big losers today amongst the major contenders on the podium. Behind Toyota Specialized 91 are the pair of Bart Alleman and Hans Becking, with Tim Sminger of Team KMC sitting on his own here. His partner, Thijs Reuter, is off the back of this group and struggling to regain contact with his KMC partner here. That's a risky scenario for KMC. He doesn't want to incur a 2-minute time penalty, apart from anything. And also the other issues of his partner incurring a mechanical and finding himself marooned on his own. So those are the risks that are happening here. Meanwhile, the yellow jerseys have got the bit between their teeth.
Yeah, Tim Sminger definitely has a bit like he takes the ride and a drive to sit here on this wheel, but he really has to be careful that maybe what we don't see, how far back his partner Thijs Reuter is. Hopefully not too far, and that he also managed to catch up with his partner again.
Well, Beers knows where they're heading now, and with him is his partner Howard Grotz, who has fitted seamlessly into this Toyota Specialized 91 team this week.
Well, what a huge bank of preparation that Howard Grotz has put in to be able to ride with the defending champion and ride at the very head of a field, showing almost no weakness. In contrast to many of the other teams who have shown a day of weakness, Howard Grotz has shown almost none whatsoever. And the 2018 champion riding with Jaroslav Kulhavi, I guess it's fair to say he knew what he was in for, riding the race with a very powerful partner. He knew he had to get into shape, and Howard Grotz, all credit goes to him, and how he's prepared himself for this race, because he has matched Matt Beers pretty much pedal stroke for pedal stroke, showing almost no weakness.
Well, they're on to the Idas Valley trail section now, and Grotz there sitting just off the wheel of Beers, with Becking and Alleman going back to the front, and Swing still hanging with this group. There's a bit of climbing to be done here as they make their way up deep into these Idas Valley trails. This is the front of the race on stage 6. They're around about 73 kilometers into the stage today. And it is the yellow jerseys, Matt Beers and Howard Grotz there of Toyota Specialized 91, who are coming good late in the race when it matters most. And they hold the advantage here with Buff Megamo on the front of this race. But Beers and Grotz looking to nail this one down. The defending champion, Matt Beers, Grotz won in 2018, and they've got stronger and stronger as a combination. Won their first stage yesterday in Wellington, having finished second, third, fourth, second, and second. So it was a great achievement in the yellow jerseys to win the stage.
And the riders, they should be actually now able to have a look back, because to see also how far back the chasing group is, and also for the KMC rider, where is my partner?
Yes, absolutely. He doesn't want to get too far ahead of him. They'll head on to a little section of trail here. This is the Iders Valley Trail section, part of the Iders Valley Community Trail, started in 2020 during COVID by a group of men, among them Aon Hendrikse. Trails here built by Kim Lauder and the Iders Valley Trails community to try and encourage the community to get involved with the trails and encourage tourism and people to come and ride here. And they've cleaned it up. It really is a wonderful part of the broader Stellenbosch trail network. It's part of the Winelands Trail Network, which is a massive network stretching from Grabo all the way out to Paarl and Robertson and the like. It's one big network of trails.
And rideable by, most of them are rideable by the general public with a permit. And we saw some dramatic images of the cliffhanger, which is, we could say, Gerald, it's more or less open to the public. People can ride it, but there is a certain arrangement that has to be made to be able to ride it. And right now we're still at the front of the field with the top two teams. We do see Team KMC. He is missing a teammate, really hoping desperately that his teammate can catch up and have a chance at a stage win or some podium time for the KMC team. They have earmarked the stage, and he's dropping back. He's letting the Bullsmeer e-bike rider follow the top two teams, Howard Grotz and Matt Beers. We saw earlier the results of the stages, pretty much a list of all their results for the 2024 race of all the stages, and highly consistent have been the Toyota Specialized 91, and that's what it takes to wear the yellow jersey in this day and age. In the 20th edition of the race, it takes consistency. Barely off the podium for a single day. They were off the podium for a single day, and here we are. That's the proof of that. Proof of that consistency is the yellow jersey. But catching back on.
But in this group, it's just actually like Seiwald and Stutzman, and it's still like
no KMC.
Tim, yeah. So his partner is still far back.
Reiter is the man he's looking for, and Canyon City and William Victoria have gone past him, and he's going to have to soft pedal. I mean, from a rider's perspective, from a team, you know, you're feeling really strong. Quite frustrating in a way, I suppose.
Yeah, but also, I mean, you have to support your partner, and I mean, it's better in a way like to come earlier back and trying to pull your partner with like a maybe a little bit, you know, is to pull him like with a speed back to the, or like to also motivate him, and I mean, if his partner is now by himself, it also doesn't help Tim to for his own performance, or it's the team result which counts.
The support makes a big difference. There's nothing worse than being sitting in no man's land alone trying to chase back, and it's all about that partner, that camaraderie that's necessary. A bad moment that his partner's having, that's when he needs his companion the most in those times of difficulty. And no difficulty for these two teams. Toyota Specialized 91 and Hans Becking and Bart Alleman, Team Buff Megamo, are back to where they were in the first 3 days of the race. And after some difficulties, they seem to have put those difficulties behind them. And now they're in the hunt for another stage win. Perhaps not the overall general classification. We see Toyota Specialized 91 marking them pedal stroke for pedal stroke. But to Hans Becking, clearly the one on the front. We've seen him on the front for most of the middle section of the race. Since we joined live, we've seen Hans Becking at the very front, pushing the pace. And we can see the damage he has caused. We have a gap back to the Canyon CD team and the Willia Vittoria team, who are breathing down their necks. There's not a huge gap back to them. Perhaps even just a lull in the pace might allow them to catch back up. But there are 4 teams in the mix for 3 spots on the podium today. The yellow jersey seems even more cemented than before, than yesterday, with the travails of Nino Schurter and Sebastian Finney. We saw some dirt on the side of Nino Schurter, clearly indicating that there was some kind of an incident, some kind of a crash, and that just a small mistake like that has got big consequences as they lose time to the leaders' jerseys. The Chivita leaders' yellow jerseys are looking dominant again at the very front of the field.
So if it comes to a sprint finish, so it's a complete different finish to the previous days. So it's not that you have a long stretch where it's like open and wide. So it's actually just the last 100 meters when the riders hitting the back here are actually the fields. There it's like open and flat. But so before that, it's off camber, it's
Rough and
slippery,
loose,
it's
yeah.
like locks which get created as steps. So it's actually the approach of the finish is quite challenging.
You've got to position yourself well there, coming off the Berg Pad trail, off the Stellenbosch, the Rustenberg Dam. You have to be positioned well to get into that trail first.
And it's and actually it's like really a sharp turn to the right to get into that trail, and the team which is actually in the first position at that section, that would make the win.
And it's going to be a tricky one for the Buff Megamo team, who are very much in the hunt for the stage and for some time gained on overall. And we're back with the women's team. Again, the top two women's team. Almost a carbon copy of the men's. The top two women on the stage and also on general classification. The Ghost Factory Racing team led down the trail by Candice Lill, with Mona Mitterwallner in close attendance on the back wheels of the Ghost Factory Racing team.
Candice Lill spent a lot of the first 3 or 4 days in the front of this group, just doing a lot of the pacemaking, and Mona Mitterwallner found herself either second, third or fourth wheel, but yesterday she was a little bit stronger, and Candice was not quite the strength, perhaps paying a price, just suffering a little bit after the travails of the first few days and the hard work she's put in. But that's what this event does.
Yeah, if you in the team, like the driver, or who is actually like put a lot of effort in also to make the pace and to close gaps, so then of course that takes its toll. And she had yesterday the situation that she was she was falling back, and Mona was then a bit helping out, trying to pull her back to the leading woman. And but now it's again like the other way around. Candice has her in her position and trying in a way just to also make the pace here. And ideal would be that, of course, Mona would be on her wheel, and they could maybe then also try when it gets back into some other trails that they could maybe also can try to break away. But the Ghost ladies were sitting very comfortable and looking very composed.
Very in control indeed. And we can see them head down this section, get a glimpse of what the time check is. And we're looking at they have already been through the 47-kilometer mark, and they had a 52-second advantage over the Toyota Specialized 91 team of Villafana and Shepherd, with Nina Giraud and Haley Preen 7 minutes and 20 down, riding together, almost together. In fact, just a short gap to Vera Lorza and Alexa Scardo.
Well, this is the elite group. The top two teams here. Mona Mitterwallner is just 22. They're coming to the USN Hydro point. We'll get a split on them there, and we'll know what the gap is back to the Toyota Specialized team very, very shortly. They are around about 62 kilometers at Morgenhof farm. Merlot and Chardonnay, they won't be serving that at the USN order point, but they do produce 40,000 cases of wine a year. So they are very, very prolific. But this pair of teams getting up the climb here. Mona Mitterwallner, just on her, I mean, as a young athlete, she is quite extraordinary. I mean, she went through a year of winning every single under 23, I think 2021, every single under 23 World Cup, plus the World Championships, and then the Marathon World Championships, all in the same year.
Yeah, and also in the World Cup, it's actually that the U23 riders, they have their own category, but she decided, or she actually opted to skip that and race with the elite, or in the elite category, because this is where she sees her big goals, also to win World Cup races within the elite category and to perform in this category.
And also as her build up to the Olympics, that would have helped her too. And Olympics would be one of her big peaks. The riders they've got to, it's a difficult campaign, the 2024 year, because they have the Olympics, which will be for any athlete, any athlete in the world. That'll be their main focus. But also they have their trade team's obligations of performing at the World Cup circuit and of course at the Absa Cape Epic too. The images of these riders are beamed around the world, and in no small way thanks to the Bulls Media e-bikes, where we can get a rider's eye view, a unique eye view of what the riders are going through on the trails at the Absa Cape Epic all week.
So Jesse Nixon is on the Bulls Media e-bike. Jesse, you're riding behind a world champion.
I know, it's quite the experience.
What's it looking like there, Jesse? The pace? What's it feel like?
There's quite a steady pace going at the moment. Be interesting to see how it lasts.
We're looking at Mona Mitterwald at the back of this group here. What does she look like? Is she drifting off every now and again?
Relatively comfortable. I think everyone's having their moments, their bad moments, but everyone's hanging on at the moment.
We talked about the conditions today. The rain, it doesn't look as though the rain has made a huge difference to the trail surface. What's it like?
Yeah, not a massive change, not enough rain to do some damage, but it's very mixed bag. Top layer of the sand's still a little bit down, but underneath it's just dust.
Okay. Thanks very much to Jesse Nixon, keeping an eye on the elite women, the front end of the Aramex women's category, being led at the moment by Candice Lill with the Ghost Factory Racing, the dominant team in this year's race in the Chivita orange jerseys, tucked in as a team. They've hardly left each other's wheel at any stage this week. And then it is Mona Mitterwald in the world champion, the marathon world champions jersey, just behind Anna Terpstra there, ahead of Jesse Nixon. Here is the chase group of Samara Shepherd at the back, the Oceania champion. That's the jersey she's wearing. She's from New Zealand, although based in Australia. Former runner, in fact, started out as a runner, picked up some injuries and decided cycling would be the way to go, and she's made a career out of that. And ahead of her is Sofia Gomez Villafan, the Argentine, based in California. And they have lost time, that's for sure, to the leading pair.
Samara today definitely battled a bit. We saw earlier that Sofia Villafan had to push Samara to give her just to help her a bit, and trying to don't lose too much time, but you also have to, you can't push your partner on the whole stage, and just also hoping that maybe it was just a bad moment and that Samara just recovers and finds her legs back.
And eating, taking on a gel, it looks like they're constantly difficult today. So many trails, so many single tracks to feed regularly and consistently as much as you need to. Big climb coming up now.
Yeah, always ideal to find maybe more a flatter section. If it's too steep, because like the jails, you also have to actually to wash down. So it means first the jail, then you also need to grab your bottle, and if it gets too steep, then it's also can be a challenge, yeah, to swallow everything down, wash it down.
Still image there of our leading men, and that tells you that Becking and Alleman are still in there. The yellow jerseys still there. The Idas Valley Trails is where they are riding right now. The dam below them on their right-hand side. They'll do a loop around the dam, then get back onto the old Helshoekte Pass and head up to that stormwater drain, which will take them underneath the new Helshoekte Pass, and then onto the Botmaskop trails.
I mean, that tunnel is, you said it's a stormwater.
Yeah, it is.
That's a massive one.
It's a very big one, yeah. It's been used before, yeah, it's an amazing feeling to ride through it. It was pitch dark.
It's quite dark. Yeah,
but they may have put lights in there. They've done that before in races. And as you come out, you see the massive of Botmaskop up there, and you know where you're going, right up the top there.
You it's like, yeah, you actually ride and it just lifts up, and
Yes.
you ask yourself, where do I have to ride here? Is there any way out of this?
Other than up there, yes. And there isn't. For these riders, they are heading up there. A little bit further back, our leading women's combinations here. Lil just looking very steady. Smooth pedal strokes by these top riders.
Well, now if the Cannondale factory racing team want to keep their hopes alive, a move by, we would expect a move by Mona Mitterwalner to overtake the Ghost Factory Racing team. We've seen the Ghost Factory Racing team defending their positions on the trails firmly, you could say, and Mona Mitterwalner really needs to get in front of them to if they want to put any kind of time into the we've said it many times before, but what looks like the dominant pairing and very much in control. And one thing that's ominous about a team that's totally in control and not on the limit is they make fewer mistakes. And we know how catastrophic one mistake can be. And if they've been able to reduce the possibility of mistakes by being in control, it just it does send a big message to their rivals. And for morale, it would be great if Nicole Collar or Anna Terpstra showed any kind of weakness, but so far nothing.
But I mean, also for the Ghost Factory Racing team, it just also, we know if one of the Cannondale Factory Racing team riders is in front of them and behind them, there's no way that anything would happen. So they are, yeah, it's a controlled situation. If Mona would, yeah, it would be definitely also helping if Mona would just trying also to make the move and get directly behind Candice Lil.
You almost feel, I mean, that 2 minutes and 51, we've got to climb up to the top of the Botmaskop climb and then down the Doctor. You almost want to say, there's your chance. Have a go. Your time is running out here. We've got one more stage tomorrow. You don't want to get to the end of the race and say, well, maybe if we'd, yes, I'm not feeling great, but just have a go.
Look, it's also
easy to say from here, isn't it?
It's absolutely, and I also just now thought, I mean, we don't know exactly how Mona felt this morning.
Yeah.
So she could still felt quite good yesterday, but I mean, it's another day in this long stage racing, and everybody gets more tired. And if you, from your riding style, if you put extra effort in with closing gaps and you fall, you drop a bit back, and then you have to actually catch up again, this is just extra loss in power, or like where you lose your, like we say, losing like little grains, or like it's you have to put in extra work and extra power.
And they've just just gone through the escalator section as they just get onto one of the more flatter sections as they approach the. They're going to head towards the 50. Let's have a look here. They're around about the 60-kilometer mark. They should be at.
It's just get the feeling that maybe Candice is looking at that tempo, very sort of relatively comfortable tempo, in order to give Mona every opportunity to stay with the group and stay at this pace.
But also, I mean, it's the way we're riding now. I mean, it's also for Candice very difficult to communicate with Mona, or just if it's like small, you know, just to get a feeling how she feels, to get an idea of that. And so she's in a way now just riding a pace, and she also doesn't know really. Could she maybe ride a bit harder? Because Mona is just back, and yeah, it's like I said, if Mona would be directly behind her, then the two could in a way also communicate. Yeah.
27 Ks to go in the women's race. They are just over 60 Ks.
Bad news for the Canyon CD team, the team that are currently 4th place overall in general classification, and a mechanical and perhaps a disastrous one. We see the frantic movements of riders that know that the head of the field is tearing up the trails and away from them. As Nino Schurter passed by, no, that's
Becking and Alleman.
That's Becking and Alleman. We have to
They have been in the lead.
Beck and Alleman were in the lead group, and now Seewald and Stutzman were off the back, and so that is very interesting development. Yeah,
mechanicals are affecting everyone. We'll need to get back to the front end of the field soon to see where the yellow jerseys are, but in our estimation, the yellow jerseys would be alone if that's the case. If we saw the third place team on the stage was the Canyon City team, they had issues and they've just been passed by Buff Megamo. We didn't catch exactly what happened. It means that those are the top 3 teams on the stage, and it looks like they've got their work cut out for them if they want to chase back and get back in touch with the yellow jerseys, who, by our understanding right now on the trails, they could well be in the lead of the stage and looking for another stage win. Matt Veers and Howard Grotz.
Just above the Idas Valley Dam there on a little bit of single track. They're riding a very short sector of single track above the Idas Valley Dam there, and that's looks like where that mechanical happened for one of Seewald or Stutzman.
So we're coming also very soon to the water point at the old Herzochte road. So where we definitely also would then get a better idea what happened or how far actually they got thrown back.
So this is a look back at the terrain of a Mauratie farm. Lots of people there now. We're on the old Helshoorte Pass sector, a short sector here, and then they will be through that stormwater drain. Unfortunately, we are finding it difficult to bring you consistent pictures from out on the route in these conditions. We appreciate it. Very, very difficult. That is Simonsberg Mountain in the picture there, and that with the cloud over it tells you that it is pretty tricky here to bring you regular and consistent images. It is the 20th edition of the Absa Cape Epic, and we've been reflecting back on previous editions. This in 2012, the slopes of Mirandal, and the finish of the prologue at the very top of the mountain. What an opportunity. Live broadcast from the top of the mountain. Views for days, and images that roll back the years. This is Christoph Sauser, Barry Stander together in 2012.
The scenes from the Mirandal time trial, the prologue, and the dustiness characterizing the region in Durbanville, and the conditions fierce as they tackled the trails on the way. In this edition, they visited the town of Robertson, Caledon, Oak Valley, and finishing in the Lawrenceford Wine Estate.
Super Modolo there donning the Exaro jersey. You saw the rider throwing his bike at the fence. He had famously been missed a time cutoff, and deeply frustrated threw his bike at the gate, which had been closed after him. Exaro introduced and made a huge impact, and they are still with us here. It is fantastic.
Esther Sus and Sally Bigham were dominant in this stage race. We saw them in their red jerseys, the leaders' red jerseys, as they really showed almost no weakness throughout the week.
So that's 2012's women's podium, and Carl Platt, well, he plays second fiddle to the late great Barry Stander and Christoph Sauser. Bart Brenchens winning the Masters, and there's the mixed, and the great images of Stander and Sauser. What a year!
Stander's second victory and Sauser's third.
What a combination. Sadly, that was to be Barry Stander's last at Cape Epic. He went on to finish 5th at the Olympic Games in that year. This is Stellenbosch and Kutzenberg's fields awaiting the leaders in stage number 6, which is proving to be another dramatic one. We've seen a mechanical that happened on the trail to the Canyon City pair, and with them are the pair of Buff Megabo, Hans Becking and Wout Alleman. Now, this is the pair making their way along the little section of the Goddess Trail. They're going to emerge from it now, and they are, in fact, Becking and Alleman some way off the leaders. There they are. So it looks like Ravensteiner and Poro are now in the lead with the yellow jerseys. Well, there's been a real change through that Iders Valley section. Something has turned this race on its head. So Ravensteiner and Poro of the Willia Vittoria team. And for the yellow jerseys, well, that's the split time at 76 kilometers. Canyon City 47 seconds back together with Buff Mega. KMC now 148. We saw that happening when Reuter and Swinger lost contact with each other. They've rolled back to ride together. But Canyon City with the mechanical and Buff Megamo are riding 47 seconds behind this lead group. And making their way up the Botmaskop climb, which will take them to the start of a trail. They're heading into a single track now. In past years, they would turn left and head straight up that road. Very, very steep climb. But since the last time they went up there, they've built this wonderful trail, the Goddess Trail. And they're on it now. So, Ravensteiner and Poro, well, they've found their legs when it matters most at the end of the week.
It looks like it, and we'll have to see exactly what happened down on the trails when we speak to the riders in the interviews after they've finished and get an idea of what happened over those Iders Valley trails. But they will be heading very soon into the culvert. It looks like they've gone through the culvert.
Yes, they're through
so
that.
They've gone through the culvert, and now they're on the Botmaskop
time. Yeah. So just to we don't know what happened down in the Iders Valley, but we do have, of course, our daily highlights show every night, and you can see that. And we have cameras out on the route that are recording images that you're not seeing live, so they may well have captured what happened out there, and we'll be able to see that tonight in our highlights show. Obviously, the riders will explain at the end of the stage as well. But a good day so far for Willia Vittoria Racing here, and just behind them, Howard Grotz and Matthew Beers. Well, they'll be delighted with the way that's panning out right now, because Willia Vittoria are virtually in 5th place on this stage, in the race at the moment, because Orbea were lying ahead of them. They're out of the race, so Willia in 5th place, but they were over 27 minutes adrift of the yellow jerseys. So no threat to the yellow jerseys in terms of general classification.
No threat indeed, and with the Willia Vittoria team riding with them at the very front, and Matt Beers and Howard Grott. Similar position, just defending that position on the trail and keeping the Willia Vittoria team well under control. Riding 47 seconds back off the pace today on the trail is Canyon City, and they are cooperating with Buff Megamo, Hans Becking and Wout Alleman, even though that 3rd spot in the overall GC is very much up for grabs, with just around about 3 minutes in that between the two teams. And 5th on the trail, KMC, 1 minute 48 seconds. And looking a bit down the trail, where our eyes really want to go, is to find out where World Bicycle Relief are, and they have lost just under 4 minutes, 3 minutes and 57 seconds to the front of the field, which means that if we look at the Buff Megamo and the Canyon City, if you're looking at the 2nd and 3rd spot on the overall podium, they are losing time for them. So that 2nd spot on the podium for World Bicycle Relief looks under threat. And just those incidents that we didn't quite catch on camera, I'd be able to give you information as to exactly what happened. And we've got a clue of what happened earlier in the stage, the cause of that gap. Nino Schurter with some dirt on his right side. Small mistake and a crash.
But also these two, Wout Alleman and Hans Becking, there must also have been something must have happened, because they also have been a bit ahead. So but now we also could manage, because we have been with Andreas Seewald and with Mark Stutzmann together, and now we pulled away from the two.
Well, they're obviously strong on the day, and they'll be looking to erase that disadvantage. Whatever happened to them, whether it was mechanical, it's going to be, we'll be telling. We're going to look on their jerseys. Luckily, they're wearing white jerseys, or luckily for us, they're wearing more or less light-colored jerseys. We're able to see if they have indeed had a crash. And if not, it could well have been another mechanical. And panning back to the trail to Canyon CD. Andreas Seewald, Mark Stutzmann, the former world champion Andreas Seewald, wearing the colors of Germany, denoting the national championships jersey. We've got the rainbow bands on his sleeves as a former world champion. And Mark Stutzmann, winner of the 2023 Swiss Epic. Great performance from Mark Stutzmann. He's wearing the Swiss National Championships jersey. And Willier Vittoria factory team are on the charge. Rabensteiner and Poro, well-known exponents of the race. We've seen them year after year coming back in various states of livery. And this year they're riding under the banner of Willier Vittoria factory. Same trade team and the Italian, very much an Italian team. Although we have seen the likes of Daniel Gesmeyer riding with him. Daniel Gesmeyer was at the front of the field earlier on in the day, riding with his partner Jakob Doragoni.
Key moment here because they're coming up to a section of single track, and from now on, pretty much single track all the way until the bottom of the mountain. So this is they want to get ahead. I can tell you what, the specialized team, but they haven't been able to get past the Willier teams. So Rabensteiner and Poro are on this single track. There's a brief section of road at the end of this piece of single track, but it's going to be a single track climb all the way to the top of the Doctor. And Rabensteiner, who's in his 8th Absa Cape Epic, and Poro in his 6th. They've got rich experience here. And, well, the man behind is the very, very impressive Howard Grotz, a 3-time winner of the Leadville 100, one of the great races in the United States. And behind him is Matt Beers.
Very experienced campaigner on the mountain bike circuit and now on the gravel circuit, Howard Grotz, and very much in touch with the lead and able to control the pace of Willier Vittoria. And back we saw the frantic chasing of Hans Becking and Bart Allemann, and shortly behind them Andreas Seewald and Mark Stutzmann. Matt Beers just keeping an eye on affairs as well, just on this climb. This climb isn't particularly steep. It does reach gradients of around about 12-13%, but mainly around about 6 or 7%, and not totally challenging for the riders. A couple of tricky technical sections, some rough sections. I happened to ride this section last night, and it's all completely surmountable, and the larger riders should have no problem keeping up with the pure climbers. The pure climber, of course, and the larger rider I'm referring to happen to be on the same trade team, and they happen to be on the same team at the moment in the race. And they are riding a fantastic combination. 2 different styles of riders, or types of riders. One a climber, you could say, and the other a very powerful rider who would be at home on the flats. They have found their groove, and they're coordinating brilliantly. And we get a glimpse of Hans Becking and Bart Allemann down the trails. They are looking to close that 47-second gap.
Behind them are Canyon City. Meanwhile, up ahead, it's Willier Vittoria going up the corkscrew section. There are a dozen switchbacks here as they make their way up the side of the mountain. Stellenbosch Trail Fund have done an incredible job in building these trails on Botmaskop over the years. They've really put time, effort, and money into creating a playground here. And the riders can come and enjoy these trails anytime. Just get a permit and come and join. You can get a Winelands Mountain Bike Club permit just for this region if you want, or for the entire Winelands region, which will cover you from Grabo all the way out to Paarl, Tilbach, and Wellington. And you can ride every single trail there. This is a lovely piece of trail.
And we can see the gap there that the Buff Megamo team have already put into the Canyon CD team. There are 4 teams in contention for a stage win, and it looks like those top 3 spots on the podium are going to go to Willier Vittoria factory, resurgent in the latter half of the race, Rabensteiner and Poro, as is typified their campaigns in previous years. And Toyota Specialized 91 second on the trails right now, right in touch with the Italians, and Buff Megamo third.
A little section of a trail here, and well, Rabensteiner and Poro are doing a grand job here and keeping themselves at the sharp end. There's not much opportunity once they get to the top of this trail, a couple of meters, and they hook a very sharp right down into the trail that is the Doctor, and that'll be plummeting down to the base of this mountain. Botmaskop, in 200-300 years ago, Boatman's Head, it is called, or was named after. They used to post sentries on the top of this mountain and look for boats coming in a Table Bay. That is the Doctor, the entrance to the Doctor section. Trail now, very, very tight corner there, and well, they were able to get in the Victoria factory to head down. This is named after the man who started the Stellenbosch Trail Fund, Dr. Richard de Villiers, who created the Stellenbosch Trail Fund initially just to tidy up and create a trail down the Eerste River in town, but it is has grown incredibly under his guidance initially, and now under the guidance of Ernst Goos and Holden Marshall, and it is about hiking, walking and mountain biking, and creating safe spaces for the people who come to Stellenbosch and the residents to enjoy, and these trails are certainly part of them. Sadly, Dr. Richard de Villiers passed away in 2022 at the fearfully young age of 55.
And then the riders hit actually the trail. Howard Grotz tried to actually get in between the de Villiers Vittoria team, but didn't manage to. So the two Italians are here in the lead and chasing down this trail.
I did a quick informal time check, and these aren't official, of course, but the Buff Megamo team are around about 35 seconds back as they hit the top section of that trail. On this downhill section, the Doctor section, it's a single track part of the trail and not particularly challenging. A couple of corrugations as they head down with one or two slightly rocky sections, but nothing to worry about for the top mountain bikers in the world as they head down the trails. And looks like the Victoria team are highly motivated, perhaps taking just the odd risk on this downhill section. They are lying way further back than the team that has all to lose, including the yellow jerseys. And so Toyota Specialized 91 already have a 27-minute and 24-second advantage over Ravensteiner and Poro, so they'll be content to let them take the risks, even if it means sacrificing a stage win. They'd rather preserve the bigger prize being those yellow jerseys, the yellow Chia Vita leaders jerseys, and that is the primary objective going into the race, going into race week, and also the primary objective today. We see a bit of a gap developing between Poro Ravensteiner pairing and Matt Beers and Howard Grotz. Matt Beers at the back of this the lead group, the front of the field, and just riding conservative, taking it conservative, because even though these trails are not necessarily the most technical that they have encountered, just a bit of extra speed or a bit too much speed around any of these corners, a slip could mean a disastrous mechanical or a disastrous injury. So the Toyota Specialized 91 team would be best just play it safe, play it conservative, and keep their eyes on the bigger prize.
It's a lovely long descent, rehabbed recently by the ace of spades, Bennett Nell, and plenty of cooperation and help from other trail builders in the area, the likes of Corey Miller and Conrad Stolz and many others. So they really have created something special. It's given a new lease on life to Botmaskop, which for many years was an area that wasn't really explored on the bikes. Flying down, they get into the just before they head into the suburbs of Stellenbosch. They'll turn left at the park and then onto the tar roads, and we are really close to the finish now. This is getting very, very close to the finish, but a little kicker, a little bit of a kicker just before the finish as they come in towards Rustenberg will be an opportunity for perhaps a team to put a drive in. Here is William Victoria. Toyota Specialized 91 on the trails down. This is the lowest section of the Doctor Trail, right to the bottom, and then they'll hook a left, drag up, and one more little bit of fun to be had in the forest at the top of the Uni Park. There they are.
Yeah, it looks like that gap is very much under control. Just the speed always gives a bit of an illusion of a gap developing. But Matt Beers and Howard Grotz look like they could well be in contention for that stage after all. And still their objective remains is the overall prize. And if they see the Italians just getting a little bit too exuberant on the trails, a little bit too many risks, they will certainly back off. The maturity of the two-time champion, in fact the defending champion, Matt Beers, he knows what it takes to win this race, and it's not moments of glory necessarily. He will rather forego that for the overall prize. That to say, they are on the gas completely, and Willier, Vittoria are putting maximum pressure down. They can smell another stage win. Ravensteiner would be looking for his 4th stage win at the Absa Cape Epic, and unfortunately for him, he is one down off Porro's stage win record by our records. I'm incorrect. Samuel Porro's only won 1 stage, and Ravensteiner has won 3 stages. So between them, they are looking very much to win yet put another one on their palmares.
These
Behind
two,
Becking, this is Becking and Alleman.
And they're going.
We actually closed the gap quite a bit, huh?
They are. They're going. Becking and Alleman. They're coming to the bottom of the trail now, and yeah, it's one of those sort of trails. You just want to go fast on it, and you just saw Becking just uncleating for a moment there. So 1 minute and 4 seconds at 82 kilometers as we close in on the finish of this stage number 6 here in Stellenbosch. And Becking looking to push Alleman. Let's get to the top of this. Another little descent coming. And then onto the tar roads across the bridge that the river that they crossed when they left Stellenbosch this morning, and closing in on the home straight. But a very technical finish, as Sabine has alluded to, that will demand some clever positioning by the racers as they move to the finish.
Yeah, in this case, definitely it's worth to have also a look for the finish, to know what comes, especially if it's also a new place. Like we moved yesterday from Wellington here to Stellies, and it definitely is worth to have a close look for the finish.
Beers and Grotz having a chat. Look at this trail. This is the handiwork of a man called Conrad Stolz, an 8-time Xterra world champion. The Caveman Trails, recently built here. He lives just a road away from these trails, and he's created some real fun jumps and berms for locals to enjoy, and for the very best in the world, right under Conrad's digger. And they hook left here and head for the tar road. Beautiful stuff. Nice way to finish the trail section of today's stage number 6.
So the riders elect for a beeline there. Just it's all about taking no risks. For many of these riders, these trails are unseen, and that is one of the arts of marathon stage racing, especially mountain bike, especially stage racing, is that many of the trails are unseen, and not like very much unlike the cross-country riders who get a chance to recce the course and almost have the entire course memorized. And we get a chance to ride with the riders, get another great rider's eye view of what it's like to tackle these trails around Stellenbosch.
But we definitely know that Nino Schurter has done these trails, also what we just saw now. And he knows also if there's a gap jump, how to clear or how much speed he needs to get over these jumps.
Getting down to the end of Boschendal Road, this is, and back onto the dirt shortly. This is the way they came out. They know where they're going now. Ravensteiner and Porro have been caught by the yellow jerseys. They had a little bit of a gap, no longer. Beers and Grotz have hatched a plan. They had a quick chat as they hit the tar road there. And they've got a plan here to see if they can claim another stage win. And you can bet they want the stage win. This is
it's the river crossing.
Yep, the river crossing now. It's going to be a little bit of a climb, a switchback climb over the river.
This is also the way they came out, but it's still quite steep. The finish before it actually gets in this very tricky single track directly in front of the finish.
They'll be climbing from this section just as they cross the river. They climb up and then they'll take a left turn up another steep climb, a couple of 100 meters, nothing for these professionals, and so just a tiny blip on the profile, but this could be the point at which there could be a slight weakness. We saw the team of Willia Vittoria, and yes, indeed, the team of the yellow jersey wearer is the strongest team in the race so far, as is proven by their Chiavita leaders jerseys, and they have created a big gap back to the Vittoria. So of course it's the team of Ravensteiner and Samuel Poro. Just get a better glimpse of which of them is
I
falling
think
back.
it's Poro's with the two men up front in the yellow jerseys, and I think this is Ravensteiner who's battling up this. It's a steep little kicker, and then another one as they go. They'll get to the crest of this little hill. They'll turn left now and head up this, as you said, Neil, a couple of 100 meters of open dirt road. But
that's Ravensteiner.
Ravensteiner, it is Ravensteiner. So he's
Poro's
left
here.
Poro behind. So that is a disappointment for the Willia Vittoria pair. Have they got it in them to close the gap?
Well, there's a steep section here, and then they do turn left. And so there's more of a steep climb to come. As we said, just a small blip on the profile, but significant when it comes to racing at this end of the field.
Well, race stage defining, just in terms of winning this stage, it looks like here for Toyota Specialized 91. Ravensteiner has rolled back to give Poro his wheel to try and measure their efforts up here. It doesn't look far.
Good teamwork from these two. These guys they're well known for their morale and their symbiosis. In fact, there are 4 team members in the team, and you could trade any of them out at any time depending on their form, and they would all work together as equally well. But proving that the best team combination, the strongest team and the strongest riders of the race are Matt Beers and Howard Grotz. At the very front of the field, they pushed on the pedals, and almost in moments they'd created a gap back to Willia Vittoria factory, and they are on track for their first stage win was yesterday, and they are certainly showing their dominance in the race. And a minute down on the stage, Wout Allemann and Hans Becking, a fantastic day out. If we were to look at the jersey of Hans Becking, he is slightly dirty. I have to just see what happened out there in the trails. That could just be, we were completely unsure, but just seeing some dirt on his back might give us a clue as to what happened to them on the Idis Valley trails.
Well, they were hanging in. They've dug deep today. They made a lot of the pace early on. So did they, Ravensteiner and Poro. They're still climbing up that little section of dirt road. The finish, they no doubt can hear the finish because it's so close. They'll come very, very close to it as they go round this, what they call in these parts the Berg Pad. It's used by runners, walkers, dog walkers, joggers and riders every day, hundreds and hundreds of them getting above the town. Meanwhile, Beers and Grotz are putting it down as they close in on the finish. There's that very tight little right-hander they'll make into the final bit of trail, and they will know that trail. They'll be thankful that they're not under immense pressure just yet.
We just saw on the Roosendaal time check that 82 kilometers World Bicycle Relief have passed through their 5 minutes and 23 seconds down. Nino Schurter and Sebastian Finney are losing a lot of time to their rivals Matt Beers and Howard Grotz. They were close. There were 2:57 going into the stage back off the team of Toyota Specialized 91. We did expect to see a big battle, and that battle has played out. And Nino Schurter are losing further time, 5:23 on the stage.
Well, Buff Megamo are the ones to benefit from that, and that's why they're charging. They know they can still put time into World Bicycle Relief. And that's how it looks. That's how close it's going to be, the virtual leaderboard right now.
We did expect to see a battle between Canyon City and Buff Megamo. Canyon City on the upswing throughout the week. Great performance in the last 2 stages, and relatively difficult time for Buff Megamo. Buff Megamo are back on it and back in the mix when it comes to their assault on the overall general classification. 3rd spot looks just a little bit more secure for the Dutch rider and the Belgian.
Storming to a stage win here, it seems, are Matthew Beers and Howard Grotz. The finish just below them on the fields of Stellenbosch University's Rustenberg.
And the team, the winningest outfit, the winningest trade team in the history of the race in 20 years, the Toyota Specialized Factory Racing Team, or the Specialized Factory Racing Team in various states of livery throughout the years. But it is still the same trade team, the same outfit that lends the support, the backup support to the top riders in the world, and their infrastructure, their backup, and of course their selection of riders and their combination of riders has proved that they are pretty much the team to watch, the team to look out for always, every year at the race. They are by default the favorites. No matter who's coming, it's the favorite team to watch. And their backup support will be watching closely and listening in closely as to how they're doing, and also listening closely will be the coach of Matthew Beers and South African John Wakefield, and you'll be relieved to see yet another fantastic performance of his star athlete.
This is the last bit of trail, and this is loose and tricky with those little logs that create a hiking trail, and they've got to be just a little bit careful here. No problem at all, but if it were coming down to a sprint or a bunch in here, it would be very, very tricky. But no problem at all for Matt Beers and Howard Grotz. They're doing the legacy of the trade team, the Toyota Specialized 91 team, high value here. They've got this in hand. A storming win, a second in a row for Matt Beers and Howard Grotz. They'll drop onto the field. It is a home win, if you like, for Specialized. This is the base for Specialized, the brand here in Southern Africa. Matt Beers and Howard Grotz are smiling, and so they should. 2 in a row. They firm their grip on those yellow jerseys. It's victory number 11 for Beers and number 3 for Howard Grotz, and number 2 in this race for the pair, as they are now in the box seat as the favorites to win this race. Another superb performance by them.
Great win, and one could say it was a home win for them with their South African headquarters in Stellenbosch, the world headquarters in Morgan Hill in California, but certainly a spiritual headquarters for the American brand. And a fantastic performance by the Italian team, Willier, Vittoria Factory. Ravensteiner and Poro always coming good in the latter half of race week in the history of the race. And a great moment for the Italian team, Ravensteiner and Poro. Yet another stage win.
Well, second place for them, and
second place.
They are, they'll be delighted with that because they've had a tough old week. Now, here comes the Becking and Alleman.
Yeah, we definitely also made the way to the finish, and now we have actually put an onboard impression how this trail looks, and it's off camera. You have these logs, and it's, yeah, I guess also for tomorrow's stage where we have the same finish. Yeah. So it's definitely gonna get quite loose if the rider's coming in, and it's super important to be the first team who hits actually this little trail before the finish.
Yes, you don't want to come into this in a bunch. It could be very, very tricky indeed. A little left-hander onto the lawns of Rustenberg's playing fields here at Stellenbosch University. And Wout Alleman and Hans Becking are giving it everything because they have motivation here to move up on the general classification. They're third at the moment, 8 minutes and 43 behind their leaders, but importantly, just under 4 minutes ahead of Canyon Sidi, who are chasing now, and they're also trying to close the gap to World Bicycle Relief, where they started the day just under 5 minutes behind them. So they are really motivated to put time into Nino Schurter and his partner Sebastian Finney, as Andreas Sirvalt and Mark Stutzman finish their stage in 4th place. Let's go down to the finish with Bart and today's stage winners.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Another stage win in the yellow jersey.
Yeah, that worked out perfectly. I think we played it safe, rode steady, and it paid off.
Fabian, how was it today in the cool conditions?
Yeah, it was good. It was quite an easy day for the most part. I think everyone's quite tired, and so the pace was kind of on off a little bit. But yeah, I knew we could do something at the end here. The climb suits Howard, and I just have to kind of suffer as much as I can.
Really, your Victoria team, they pushed hard. But didn't they expect that last little climb before the finish? You dropped them easily over there.
Yeah, I think the one guy was, I don't know his name, apologies. Samuel.
Yeah, Samuel.
Yeah, he was struggling a little bit on the switchback, so Howard, we kind of knew that he was on the edge, and yeah, we just attacked. So.
And the World Bicycle Relief didn't have their best day. They lost a lot of time.
Yeah, but it's not over. There's still one more day to focus.
And how was it on the trails today?
They were really nice trails, yeah. Like perfect weather too to ride them. Felt like a jungle.
And how is it to come here with so many spectators? Is it a small grand finale?
Yeah, you can tell that the hype is building for the end of this race.
Good luck for tomorrow's race.
Well, the thoughts of Matt Beers and Howard Grotz, they sensed a weakness in Samuele Poro going up the corkscrew climb early on, and as they hit the road, they hatched that plan, attack on the next climb, and it paid off handsomely. Nino Schurter and Sebastian Finney charging to the finish here, losing time.
Yeah, Nino is, I think he's pretty much aware that we lost quite some time, and the last virtual leaderboard, there was it actually 8 minutes, so in between we had again lost quite some time, and yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if we would be still on the second position. I doubt.
Well, it's going to be very, very close. I think they were just under 6 minutes behind, at least ahead of Buff Megamo. And Buff Megamo finished 150 behind. We'll do the calculations. The human computer alongside me, Neil, will do it all as he's talking.
Well, this is all pen and paper stuff, but at the time check, there were 3:19 back. If you look at the overall general classification, so they still had a 5-minute 25 advantage over Buff Megamo, the World Bicycle Relief team, lying in second still. So it will be touch and go, but if it's close, it's close. But there's still a cracker stage tomorrow, and that could be highly decisive. We see there Nino Schurter had his foot out, just shows how on the limit they're riding and how they really are trying all they can to minimize the time loss. And still a fantastic performance from Sebastian Finney and Nino Schurter. We did see some earth on the side of Nino Schurter's trial on his bib shorts on the right side of him. And it could allude to the fact that there was a rare mistake, a very rare mistake from the 10-time world champion.
It's going to be so close for their position in the general classification. Second place, Buff Megamo are the team waiting to see. They were third today, 150 behind Toyota Specialized at 91. But crucially now, it looks like World Bicycle Relief will be close on 6 minutes behind the overall leaders today. The difference was around 6 minutes to Buff Megamo. Let's see, Schurter and Finney finishing off what has been a tough day for the World Bicycle Relief pair. They will roll across the line in 9th place today, and the time gap will determine very shortly to the third place team. That's the key. 6:25 they finished behind Toyota Specialized at 91. So they are a long way off the pace. Let's go down to hear from Poro and Rabensteiner, second today.
Fabian, congratulations, second place. Are you happy?
Yeah, thank you. Really happy. Yeah, I feel again really strong. Also, Samuele feel much better day by day now. So we try something, but yeah, we had a small, or Samuele had a small crash in the middle of the race, so we had to catch back really hard, and this cost a lot of energies, and in the end, maybe this was the factor which cost maybe the win.
Was it that slippery in the beginning?
I mean, not. I like this kind of ground because it's quite better than the sandy one. I mean, I crashed because sand, not because mud.
Okay.
But yeah, as I said, was quite hard to come back.
but we can be happy because we can stay in the front in the lead of the race all day long. So it's good to come back after the first days and some illness the past 2 days.
You did a lot of work, you pushed hard for a long time. But did you have to pay for that at the end? There was still a little climb coming.
Yeah, I mean the specialized guys are quite strong and they can control all day long because you know they are the leader and they have not to do nothing in the front, in the head of the race. Canyon attack, buff attack, we chasing, and they stay quite easy on the wheel. You saw they are quite comfortable there. So. At least when they attack on the last climb, they was super strong. So for me, they was too much.
And how was it to come here with all the spectators? Tomorrow is Grand Finale, but this was also a Grand Finale.
Yeah, it's really special. I mean, it's quite similar than the Grand Finale. And yeah, if tomorrow comes more people than today, then it will be a really big party, I think.
One more stage tomorrow.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yes, great turnout down at the finish at the Rustenberg Stadium, Rustenberg Fields, the Stellenbosch community, and people from outside of town coming to welcome in the riders and enjoy the energy that surrounds this incredible event, the race village and the camper vans. It is something quite extraordinary. So will you Victoria Factory in 5th place on GC today. Remember, Orbea Lead Speed Company dropping out of the race, and that is Georg Egger just rolling across the line now on his own. Sadly for them, they are no longer part of the race in terms of a team. They are just a solo rider, Georg Egger. Let's hear from Becking and Alleman above Megamo.
Hans Becking, Wout Alleman, a crazy day.
Yeah, it was quite fun actually. Not that hot today, and yeah, full gas, and we had, like we said, was all in for us. And even though I had a small crash and I flat in the front, and he got some grass in the cassette, so we had to stop, chase, go to the front, chase. So it was not a perfect day, but still we could show ourselves that we are here not for just ride around, and we are also on the podium again, and we're super happy. And like we found the momentum back, and again tomorrow the same tactic, I guess.
So it was not that we didn't see everything on TV, but you had a few times to stop to chase again.
Yeah, it was crazy. I think everybody is tired, and we're making more mistakes than in the beginning of the week. And yeah, but we find some good legs again today, and we tried to go for the win, but finally we made a little bit too much mistakes to do it. But yeah, super happy with another podium, and I'm happy that we are back in the game.
And second in GC.
Also, well, that's.
I think so. I'm not sure.
They just arrived, but I thought. So we have some drama for tomorrow. some excitement.
It's never over till it's over.
Exactly. Tomorrow at around 12 o'clock it's over. Until then we focus and give all we have.
How was it to come here with so many fans already on the grandstand?
It's amazing.
Yeah, always here in Stellenbosch it's really nice, and then especially for the last days. I love to come here, and also the trails here are really nice. We enjoyed it.
Well, it's another big day with a lot of trails.
And rain, like it suits us.
I expect serious rain, what I heard.
Yeah, no, the more the better, let's say.
Good luck and have fun tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Seldom not smiling, are they? The Buff Megamo pair, Bart Alleman and Hans Becking. And this is the women's race now on the old Helshoogte Pass. And it's one of the very oldest passes in the South Africa. They seem to think that early on elephants used it as a path over the mountains here, and so they built the roads over it over the years, and now this old pass has been usurped by the new pass, which is just above it on the right hand side. They're still able to ride up this, and they're heading in towards that stormwater drain here, Sabine. There's an opportunity here for Cannondale Factory Racing, surely.
Yeah, but so
are they going to take it?
It's so tight. Look at that.
Look at, I mean, it's like a group ride, yeah. So they in a way now, Candice and actually Mona, she also needs to show Candice, come, now I'm ready. Let's try it. To in a way getting at least a bit of gap and breakaway up to Botmaskop, to these trails, and then the final single trail down. But at the moment it doesn't look like.
You cannot think that Ann Terpstra and Nicole Kohler have been so rock solid this whole week. They are just going to head under the Helshoogte culvert. You can see on there underneath the new Helshoogte Pass. That was built in the 1970s. The old pass goes back to 1854. But they're going to go underneath the stormwater drain now and then onto the trails of Botmaskop. That long drag, as you can see, all the way up to the top of the Doctor, which will bring him to the finish. There's the exit point. Well, that stormwater drain doesn't look very big from here, does it? But you can see people standing on the top looking down, and they'll see them going into it. Let's go to the finish and hear from Nino Schurter.
It was quite slippery. Came a bit too fast in one of the corners and then slipped, but it was all good. It was quick back on the bike.
Was that because you lost a bit of time?
No. No, it was quite slippery in the morning, so I just had a little crash. Nothing bad. No, today mid-stage realized it's not enough. So we need to focus on second place and also not to burn ourselves. It's in 3 weeks the World Cup starts, and we don't want to. If we saw that we don't have a chance to fight for the victory today. So
the second place in GC is still there, and tomorrow one more stage. Is that the goal, to stay there or to win another stage, win the grand finale?
Well, for sure, it'd be nice to win tomorrow, but we need to see how we recover. Today was for sure a hard day. And yeah, it would be nice to get second in the GC. We will for sure battle for that.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Somewhat fatigued looking. Nino Schurter. It's been a tough day, and I think the last week has, it takes a toll on even the greatest of all time. That's what it does, the Absa Cape Epic.
The greatest, one of the most experienced rider in the entire field, and also the winningest for sure, Nino Schurter, and with two Absa Cape Epic titles already to his name. And just word from the unofficial time check is that World Bicycle Relief are still in second place on the overall general classification, but it is close. Buff Megamo are 10 minutes and 33 back, so let's call it 1 minute and 11 seconds behind the World Bicycle Relief team. Canyon CD also breathing down their necks for that third spot on overall, 13 minutes and 57 seconds down. Quite a bit more, but we do expect to see a big battle, some drama. Hans Becking said it, there's going to be some drama going into the final stage. And although Toyota Specialized 91 have a comfortable lead of 9 minutes and 22 seconds, we expect to see that second and third spot on overall general classification to be fought for tooth and nail. Fifth spot, inheriting that spot, Willio Vittorio Factory. A great day out today, 28 minutes back, and still further down the field at 42 minutes back, 42 minutes and 23 back, Singer Racing of Stibjan and Hartmann.
What we are going to see today is a change, I think, in the Absa African jerseys, because the erstwhile leaders in that category, Page Eurosteel, Philip Bass and Peter de Toy, we haven't seen them yet come through the finish line, and they came through the 82 kilometer mark 21 minutes down, and they have leaked nearly 15 to 14 minutes to Valley Electrical Titan Racing, who have finished, so that may well change. Meanwhile, we're on the Botmaskop trails with Mona Mittenweiler and Candice Lill. Now they're
Candice Lill is still sitting behind the Ghost Factory team, and Mona lost a bit of touch or the contact to the free riders ahead.
Well, it's a long week for the 22-year-old for sure, and the fatigue may well be setting in. They've had an intense week, Mitterwalder struggling in the early week heat, especially on the prologue, so that she was actually she was shivering on the downhills and overheating on the uphills. And not a great start if you're looking to launch your assault, and especially as the favorite team going into the race. Would hate to say it was a dark horse team, Ghost Factory Racing, knowing their pedigree, knowing the firepower, knowing that they had the backup support that they had, and the fact that they also have ridden a lot in South Africa already, having won the Tankwa Trek in 2023. The Ghost Factory Racing team have shown that they are worthy of favorite status. In Cannondale Factory Racing, we expected to see a lot of them, and they haven't disappointed, running the Ghost Factory Racing team tooth and nail, but showing a sign of weakness, one of the early signs, first real signs of weakness from Mona Mitterwalder.
Let's go back to the finish. Sebastian Finney is with Bart Brenchens.
He was suffering a bit more, I think.
Stage, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah.
full gas from the
We were
beginning.
very close to the podium.
Like every day we go full gas. I mean, and today I couldn't keep up after I think 50k, so I had to slow down, and we had to do our own pace. So yeah, we lost some time in the GC, still second overall. I think 1 minute and 10 till the third place, so it's still good. But you know, when you're here, you want to win. But today I didn't have more. I gave everything, so I'm still proud, and I'm really happy to have Nino as a teammate to bring me to the finish line.
And tomorrow is the Grand Finale. That's another actually a very special stage, and if you can win something like that, there must be something amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Tomorrow we will go for it. It's a short one. It suits us a little bit better. But let's see what we have in the tank.
It has been a long and hard week so far.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a long one, but I really enjoyed every day so far. So hopefully I enjoy tomorrow as well, and we can finish on a high.
Have a good recovery, and then see you tomorrow at the start again.
Thank you.
George, not the way how you would finish Absa Cape Epic.
No, totally not. Yeah, so yesterday Lucas already struggled with his stomach, and I think today it got even worse. Yeah, I think he could not fuel properly, or he tried, but in the end I think nothing, no carbohydrates came into his body. So if your stomach is not working, yeah, it's quite complicated. And so, yeah, he tried hard, Lucas, till the first tech zone, but I think we were almost the last team at that tech zone point, and then we decided that Lucas will quit, and yeah, I just tried to ride on. So actually I felt quite well. It's towards the end, but yeah, it's a race with two competitors, and I mean, yeah, in the end it's also, like for the whole team, it's a bit disappointing, but in the end it's just a race, and we try again, and yeah, it's a bit uphill to get, but yeah, in the end we continue and we try again.
It shows even more if you could have won like you did 2 years ago, Absa Cape Epic, how much it means for the team, for yourself, and to do it like that.
You mean if we have won again, or?
No, that you won the Absa Cape Epic, that it means so much.
Yeah, I mean, that was the big breakthrough for our team, totally. I mean, the media attention on that event is quite big. They are the best riders competing, and yeah, that was our biggest success so far. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that we cannot yeah, go on that level, but I mean, there are a lot of races coming. I try to go for Olympics and try my best in cross country. I mean, yeah, the level is also quite high in Germany now with Luca, but yeah, Lucas Baum probably will do some gravel races, and there's a lot of things to come, so we try to, yeah, keep our mind fresh and go on as soon as possible.
But you will continue tomorrow? You do another stage tomorrow?
Yeah, I will finish it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dus Ruiter, Tim Smenge, 5th place, an amazing performance.
Yes, today was really good. Last 3 days we both were sick, so and today we both felt good. And this morning we said let's go for it, and yeah, I think it went better than we expected.
I mean, yeah, battling with the best riders of the world, if you are sick, it's absolutely not possible. But how did you survive in these last 3-4 days when you didn't feel good?
We took it a bit easier when we felt that we had no energy. There's nothing you can do, just take care of yourself and try to eat
and hope it gets better. And then today, finally, we had some power again.
It's not easy if you don't feel healthy and you have to survive. That is even harder than racing like you did today and then finishing on the 5th place.
Yeah. Today I thought it was pretty easy racing for me. Today was suffering a bit more, I think. But yeah. We were very close to the podium, but 5th is also really nice.
I mean, tomorrow it's the grand finale, how it's called. Nice trails. What's left for you guys?
So tomorrow we try one more time. It's we know the whole route for tomorrow. We have ridden it, so we'll see. We go full gas, but yeah, this is amazing already. So this saves our Cape Epic, I think, and yeah, we really enjoy it today. And tomorrow we see what's happening.
Is a podium possible tomorrow?
Yeah, we hope so. We just go full gas, and then we'll see where we end up.
Good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, great day for the KMC team. Also a team who spent a lot of time out in South Africa training and preparing for their years. They did a lot of those beach races in the Netherlands as well in the winter. But Tim Spenger there, the former Dutch national champion on the right. And yeah, they've had a great day.
A great day for them. And here it is in the official timing results for the stage. Stage 6. And Matthew Beers and Howard Grotz yet another stage win for the South African and the American Toyota Specialized 91, coming absolutely, really showing their dominance in the race. And the defending champion and the 2018 champion showing that they are worthy of those Chivita leaders jerseys. Fabian Rabenstein, a fantastic performance from him, and Samuel Porter in second spot, just over 40 seconds down. And Hans Becking and Wout Alleman holding on to that 3rd spot overall. We thought it would be under threat from the Canyon CD team, but not to be.
The podium on stage 6, the first finish in Stellenbosch, the first of 2, grand finale tomorrow. And a fantastic day out for all these teams, but in 3rd place, a battling day. You heard the issues that they had out on the trail. Wout Alleman, the European champion, and alongside him, Hans Becking, the champion of the Netherlands in the marathon discipline. And on the left-hand side, finishing second, their best result of the week, William Victoria Factory in 2nd place today, Samuel Porro and Fabian Ravensteiner. They were in the mix until the last climb, because this pair, Matthew Beers and Howard Grotz, sensed the weakness and went for the jugular and took their 2nd stage win in a row. The national champion of South Africa and Howard Grotz, the 2018 winner here, and a former American champion. Lovely to have them on the top step again in the yellow jerseys as well, which they'll receive very, very shortly. A hugely impressive end to the week for Beers and Grotz.
Truly international field on the podium, and at the very top of the podium, Matt Beers, a local rider, knowing these trails very well. And there is such a great blend here with the local knowledge, the local trails, and the international field. In fact, we saw Tim Schmiger wearing a cap with a local chamois cream brand. So clearly all integrating, and it's the international riders come and they want to know all about what the trails are like. And it's not just what the trails are like, but just understand a little bit about the community of mountain biking. And we certainly are in the hotbed of mountain biking. Stellenbosch is one of the attraction points, not just for the community, but the entire world.
Stepping up onto the podium to receive the yellow jerseys once again, Matt Beers and Howard Grotz. Broad smiles from the Toyota Specialized 91 team. They'll be immensely proud of their achievement so far, as will the entire Southern African Specialized team here, based in Stellenbosch on a farm just outside of town here. They'll have a full crew of people out there, and tomorrow I'm sure we'll be cheering them all the way around and holding thumbs that it stays together for them tomorrow on the grand finale stage day. Of course, Stellenbosch hosted a World Cup here in 2018 on these very slopes of Rustenberg, and they'll be exploring quite a bit of that trail tomorrow as well as they come to the finish. That is for tomorrow. This is for today. The women's race now is coming to a conclusion. Mona Mitterwalla is now on the back wheel of Candice Lill. can they at least get a stage win today? And well, you can't help but feel that little last kicker that we saw the Willia Vittoria team lose ground might be a key moment in today's women's race as well.
But first we also have to get the downhill done. So Botmaskop downwards, the doctor, I think is it called? Yeah, so, and we saw it earlier with the men's race. On the bottom there are still also a bit some playground, there are like some berms and some jumps. And yeah, if Mona and Candice managing to stay with the Ghost Girls, then it would be nice also to see maybe a interesting finish. And then there's like the last kickoff on this wide gravel road we see on top of the finish of the exposition, and so we're coming in from that gravel road.
Yeah, behind or through those stone pines, and then down onto the little trail above the rugby and football fields, and down they go. Plummeting. It's not an easy finish, so to speak. It's technical, and if you are in a race mode, then you could get yourself in a spot of bother. Well, there we go, finishing with a wheelie and a smile at the end of stage 6. They can sense the end of this journey, the Untamed African Mountain Bike Race, the race that measures all, and that certainly has. You've got a sense even from the very top riders, the fatigue is set in here. And they are feeling the effects of a week's racing and a week in intense heat over the first few days in Tulbagh particularly, and Wellington, and that drained riders all around the trails. And we've seen, yes, the usual number of riders who've and teams that have fallen by the wayside for one reason or another, and so those who survive, the strongest survive. So we're watching the team of Ghost Factory Racing leading the charge down the Doctor Trail here. This is the rehabbed section they'll drop into now, an older section of the trail as they make their way down the side of Botmaskop. They are in the lead, and they went into it first, and their superb skills serving them well here. They'll know this trail well.
Yeah, very. I mean, they have the skills also. They let the bike under them, like really, they push it in. They push it into the curve. They're trying to also keep the pressure on the wheels, that the front wheel is not slipping, and so it's. I mean, with twisting corners, if you actually don't. Yeah, if you start to move into these corners with your body, you actually need to push your bike and to really always have a good central body weight over the bike, and that the bike and the wheels always have the grip.
In between the trees here and the flattish section, and then more exhilarating downhill trail to enjoy. This is only a downhill trail. The uphill is just adjacent to this, not far from where we are here. There's as they enter this next section of downhill, you might just see the exit of, on the left-hand side where you can ride up the trail. Into the forest they go, and they seem to have opened a tidy gap to Candice Lill and Mona Mitterwald here.
They just look so confident on this trail, just pushing the bikes. We heard Sabine talking about it. She would spot that body language in an instant, and she has just alluded to the fact that it's very clear who the dominant team is and who the confident team, and confidence does get contagious. And the top cross-country riders in the world, and a Terpstra winner of 2 World Cups and multiple national championships, Nicole Koller, former junior world champion, are showing their pedigree, and Candice Lill and Mona Mitterwald are in hot pursuit, and we'll be able to get a time check with a few kilometers to go exactly where they are on the trails. They hit the top section of the trail with more or less in touch with the leading team. The Ghost Factory Racing and Cannondale Factory Racing were together at the top of the trail, with Mona Mitterwald fighting to get back in touch. Now they're on the Doctor and heading down to the final, in the finish line in Stellenbosch, but one tiny little obstacle to go. It'll rise after the Doctor before they reach home. Some trails and some single track to go. And it's still very much all to play for, but it does look likely that Ghost Factory Racing have created a bit of a gap, and see how well if Mona Mitterwalder and Candice Hill can close that gap before they get to the finish.
Can Jessie Nixon close the gap? Let's see. She's chasing down here through these forested trails. Beautiful they are. Dr. Richard de Villiers will be looking down with a great sense of pride.
There's Candice Lill and Mona Mitterwalder heading through there, and absolute full gas on this descent, hoping to get back in touch with the Dutch and the Swiss rider.
Well, they've got inside 3 or 4 kilometers perhaps from here, down the tar road, up across the river, the Yester River, and then on that kicker, an opportunity there perhaps. But Mona Mitterwalder and Candice Hill have work to do, because the Ghost Factory Racing team are pinning their ears back and are eyeing a 7th consecutive stage win here.
Well, look back at the gap there. We see from the helicopter,
yeah.
it's a massive gap when it comes to hunting for stage honors. And Lill and Mitterwalder have a lot to cut into, especially with the fast pace set by Ghost Factory Racing. It's not like they're going to relax at the moment. They can see that they've got a gap due to their superior technical skills by the looks of it. They have shown that in the past few stages that they are just prepared to go that deeper when it comes to the technical skills, and are ready to go. This is shortly before the playground section, and we'll see them go through there. Mitterwalder, just on the short, sharp rise, is struggling to stay in touch with her partner, Candice Lill.
Candice reaches the top of that little climb, and she'll drop into the caveman trail section in the top of the forest, the playground area, if you like. The Burns jumps shortly. Here comes Mona Mitterwalder. Well, she's not quite in the condition
we also
at this stage of the season.
Again, we also just have to see, she is a young rider. It's her first epic, and I mean, it's also for her to learn and also to learn her body better, and also because it shows also there are limits, and over years you just can also then get better and close the gap. And we also saw, I mean, if you also think of Sebastian Finney, who also is a newbie to the Absa Cape Epic, and he also, I mean, he is in cross country, he is also on top, and but 8 days of every day digging deep, it pays its toll. And the marathon riders, it's way used to these kind of riding, and way digging actually also when they train many hours with a high intensity, and so it's also to just acknowledge that marathon riders, that they also have very good qualities.
Absolutely, and so did this pair. Ann Terpstra and Nicole Kohler on Roosendaal Road, and then dropping down now Omega Street here in Stellenbosch. They are closing in on the finish of stage number 6. Hugely impressive debut performance here for the 2024 Absa Cape Epic for this pair. Absolutely amazing how they've never at any stage looked in any trouble at all. They've looked very composed, stayed together all the way through. Neither rider has shown a chink of weakness at all. Swinging down to Boschendal Street, across the intersection that takes people up to the beautiful Landsraak estate up on the left, and they are closing in on the Yester River. They do have also this year the Olympic Games and the World Cup season round the corner.
And so with Anna Terpstra, I mean, she also is, of course, if you see the World Cup, under pressure with another young one with Puk Pieterse, who is very, very strong, and she right now is busy riding on the roads, yeah, I mean, but Holland or the Netherlands are actually in a position, also if you see the nation ranking, that we would have also 2 spots for the Olympics. So, and with that, Anne Terpstra and Puk Pieterse, they actually would be the one who will be then also at the Olympic Games.
And if nothing else, this is a great preparation for that Olympic Games. But we do speak to, we're in touch with some of the coaches of the athletes, and Nicole Coller's coach, Julian Swart, has intimated that she's on great form, and although she may not, I personally don't know if she's in the plan for the Olympic team. I don't think so, but all about coaching is setting those goals for the season, and the Absa Cape Epic is certainly one of those goals. And it's difficult to set more than 1 goal for the season. In fact, it's difficult to set 2 goals, but more than 2 is very tricky. Sabine, you'll be able to talk a little bit about goals for the season and tricky during an Olympic year.
Yeah, I mean, it's still that the riders have actually to they fight for that, for the spots to actually get to the Olympics, and every nation has a bit like a different goal setting. So it can be that the previous year that World Championships already count into it, but normally it's like in the Olympic year that the first World Cups till May, that's actually in a way like where the riders has to perform. And if we're just speaking about also the Swiss riders, in Tokyo we had the full podium. We had 3 Swiss riders with gold, silver and bronze, and these 3 riders at the moment are not showing the best performance. So it's actually a 4th rider, Alexandra Keller, who was actually doing very well in the World Cup last year and also the year before.
And a rider who also spent some time in South Africa actually recently, Keller. Now here's Kohler and Terpstra on that long drag up the Berg Pad. And they're looking rhythmic, they're looking in control, as they have been throughout. Steady and so composed. Terpstra is the older of the riders at 33, the more experienced rider, but Kohler is every bit a match for Terpstra here.
Look, they had also the chance to look back and see that they had opened up quite a bit of a gap. But like also the other day, it's we know that on the last day still things can happen, and to ride still with a comfort pressure and trying to maybe gain some more seconds. If something would happen for tomorrow, it's very important that you still in a way try to also to gain some more minutes or seconds here on the last or the day before the grand finale.
Well, they're holding nothing back here. Anne Terpstra and Nicole Kohler is setting the pace, and they may be putting in probably around about half a minute at this stage. It may get a little bigger by the time they get to the finish. But this is an exhibition of high-class mountain bike stage racing from Anne Terpstra and Nicole Kohler.
Fantastic performance from them. And once the elastic has snapped, it's very often the fact that the chasing team, that deficit, they'll hang on for as long as possible. And once the elastic snaps, it snaps it snaps fast and hard. And just checking on those time checks to see how much damage the Ghost Factory Racing team have created. In fact, looking at that damage, we talk about the time gap between Cannondale Factory Racing and Ghost Factory Racing. The team we see right now resplendent in their orange jerseys. They put them on the prologue, after a fantastic performance. It was close up until the final climb, and they really made it count on that last climb on the prologue, and gaining almost up to a minute and pulling on those Ciavita leaders jerseys. And it hasn't looked in doubt for 1 single second. Not even on that last corner where you drew in some breath, Gerald.
we could see that she slipped a bit.
That loose,
it's a bit loose.
Sand, yeah, it's a bit loose. Going at the speed they're going at, and you just caught a glimpse there of Kola looking over his shoulder, now looking for Terpstra, but earlier going up that climb. They don't know what the other two are doing, the Cannondale Factory Racing team. They know they've got a gap on them, but this is the beauty of this racing. You going flat out, never mind that you have an advantage. You have no idea how close that team is behind you. And Candice Dill and Mona Mittenweiler, for all they know, might be closing in on them. I don't think they are, but that's the beauty of racing.
The idea is that if you get a gap, you go absolutely as hard as you possibly can. And there's no metering it out here. And a gap of 10 meters is good enough to put maximum pressure down. Tactics are slightly different when the teams are together. If there's a team on the front, you're likely to put 100% effort in and just let the other team take a free ride to the finish. Not the case at all when there is a bit of a gap. Then it is all commitment, all out as they head towards the finish. Metering their efforts out as they are really close at this point. They're able to get a time check at the 82 kilometer mark. We haven't yet passed, they have actually passed through there. In fact, we've just got the timing in. It's 22 seconds back is Cannondale Factory Racing. So Ghost Factory Racing have put 22 seconds into the team of Cannondale, and Toyota Specialized 91 are quite a distance back, over 8 minutes back.
Well, they're flying down this descent. All the climbing's done pretty much for them, and they are tucking in. And, well, if they were to go straight through that corner, they'd probably end up on the finish. So they're not going to do that. They're going to just ease off here. It's one of those tricky ones. You've got to just ease off the brake. Don't go too hard. You'll slide out, and it wouldn't be what you'd want to happen.
This descent is surprisingly treacherous with the surfaces. If the surface isn't exactly consistent all the way across, it's not like you can lean your way across the whole section of the road. The middle part will be have less traction necessarily. Might have less traction than the section where the tires of the cars would necessarily go. And it's about managing that and just finding where the grip is and making sure to avoid where the grip is not.
Finish down below them for the Ghost Factory Racing pair, Terpstra and Kola. They'll be eyeing it out just in the corner of their eye, and knowing that if they keep going as they are now, they are going to put another orange leader's jersey on their shoulders and another stage victory. And this is the chase behind now. Just about, as Neil said, 22 seconds, maybe a little bit more by now, as Candice Lill and Mona Mittenweiler second again.
Well, they've vowed to never give up, always fight right up to the end. And Mona Mittenweiler did say, "You will never crack me," and that is a testimony to the fact that her determination, despite her young age, that she will never give up. Even tomorrow, we can be absolutely sure they are going to keep trying up until the line, as they head towards the grand finale. Another loop course in Stellenbosch tomorrow. And it's unusual for the race to have, well, in fact, not unusual. It's the first time we've had a loop course in a grand finale. The first time we've had a grand finale in Rustenberg. We had the first grand finale was, in fact, in the Stellenbosch area at Speer. But this time we are in a brand new grand finale. We've had grand finales in Stellenbosch. We've had grand finales in Lawrenceford, Valdevie, and over the years. And now we are finishing in the fields of Rustenberg. And it's bound to be an amazing hero's welcome. And we expect to see a party at the finish line welcoming these riders. All of them, all 1,300 riders, or however many are left in the race, 1,200 riders or so. And we'll see the hero's welcome. Like this pair here, Nicole Koller and Anna Terpstra, all smiles. Yet another one, 7 out of 7.
Yeah, absolutely, they keep their perfect record. The Dutch woman and Terpstra. And from Switzerland, Nicole Koller raised their hands in victory for a 7th time this week. They have yet to finish off the top step in their very first Absa Cape Epic. A quite sublime performance again. They have been super smooth and super consistent.
And here comes the second team, Candice Lill and Mona Mittenweiler on the final little single track. But also here still trying to keep really like centered on the bike and dropping down into the stadium.
Mona Mittenwalde, the world marathon champion, a 22-year-old in her first journey around the Absa Cape Epic, and she's been a fantastic partner for the very experienced Candice Dill, the South African champion. She'll get a very, very big welcome in to the finish here, Candice. A real crowd favorite, and she is in second place on general classification, second place on the stage once again. They roll to the finish and confirm their status as the second best team in this race, bested again by the perfect scenario that Ghost Factory Racing have played out here every single day. Another magnificent ride by Ghost Factory Racing. But Cannondale Factory Racing, well, this is a team perhaps we'll see again in the future with that experience that Mona Mittenwalde is gaining from this year's Absa Cape Epic debut for her, that she will learn, as Sabine has been alluding to, so much from this week's racing.
I mean, also her team, Cannondale Factory Racing team, with came many years with Mani Fumic and Enrique Avantini here to race the Cape Epic, and they saw the benefit of having this intensity in front of the World Cup. And yeah, I also could really believe that also for the future, Mona sees also what benefit she can take out of this stage race.
Yeah, the potential for gaining great benefit out of the Absa Cape Epic ahead of a World Cup season. There's plenty of evidence that it has worked wonders for many riders. Some perhaps don't think it benefits them, but each one to their own, and each how they prepare. And I'm sure that Mittenwalde will learn a great deal.
You have just also see, okay, it's like after this intensity, you need to give your body also recovery time, enough recovery time, and then you throw in like the specific mountain cross-country specific intervals, the short punchy one, but it's very important that you give your body rest.
So let's hear from the two teams. There's a minute between them on the stage. Ghost Factory Racing first, and Terpstra and Nicole Kohler.
Nicole, Anna, a big smile again. Congratulations.
Yeah, today was so cool. It's really tough, but again, we could just stick to our plan and we could make our plan work, and it's just so crazy. We can decide to make a move technically, we can decide to make a move tactically or physically, and it worked. Everything worked this week. It's unbelievable.
We spoke about it yesterday, a full strike for the whole week. Is that the main goal? A full strike?
We don't know. Like, we will see how we feel tomorrow. We know the trails in Jonker, and I think we love them. We always train there, so yeah, let's see what tomorrow brings.
I mean, the gap is still not super big. You know that as well. In mountain bike terms, everything can happen. Is that still in your mind, these things?
Yeah, for sure. We just try to make the best out of every day, and then in the end that will add up to the end result. And this is not over. Like, we have one more day to go, and the racing is always until the finish line, and in this case it's until the last finish line. So yeah, it's still exciting.
How was the finish line with so many spectators here on the side already?
It was more today, yeah?
Yeah, today it was like everywhere there were people, and it was just so cool. Still, it's not the best weather, but all the people came out, so it's just so cool.
Especially your boyfriend, he was everywhere.
Good luck for tomorrow's grand finale.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, they're in good spirits, and they should be, the Ghost Factory Racing pair. And this is the Toyota Specialized 91 pair. Sophia Gomez-Villafan on the front. She has been for all of this day today, because Samara Shepherd has had a really tough day.
She certainly has, and we've seen the great teamwork with Villafana. She's been in full support, always keeping an eye on her partner, and that's what it's all about. It's about staying in contact, staying in touch, staying in communication, and managing their efforts. We saw earlier Villafana was giving Samara Shepherd a bit of a push to stay in touch with the group, but at some point the elastic did snap, and they are losing quite significant amounts of time, although their third spot on overall GC should not be under threat. They have lost almost over 8 minutes today already on the stage at the 82-kilometer mark, and expected to approach almost 9 minutes on the stage. However, that's that objective is now long gone, the objective of a stage win. Of course, we've seen Ghost Factory Racing already in there, and we'll hear from the Cannondale Factory Racing team on the ground in a moment.
How are you feeling after the finish?
Yeah, another day trying. I mean, it was again not enough. I mean, we gave everything we had up that climbs. Candice was super strong again. I think I hid a bit in the beginning to then attack on that climb, but I think they always had an answer. I mean, it's I think it's just tough, you know. But I mean, when you look back at the last epics in the men's field, the leader's jersey changed on the last day. So I mean, we're not giving up before we are crossing the last line. That's all I can say. We tried hard, and we are going to try hard tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day. Everything that's left, and as I said, everything is still to play for. I mean, I'm not going to say today that they are won. That's because it's not over.
That's how it is, Candice. You know that as well, how it is in Cape Epic. You have to fight till the last day, till the finish line. Yeah. Tomorrow is another hard stage, even if it's the final, the grand finale. Yeah. What are the tactics?
I mean, we have absolutely nothing to lose. We've gone all in every day, and I think nothing's going to change for tomorrow. I think, yeah, I must say the racing this week has just really brought out the best in all of us. I think we've really had to push, and I think it's raised the level of the women's field incredibly so. And yeah, I've learned a lot, and it's been amazing. So let's go all in for tomorrow.
It's not over.
It's not over.
How was it today with all the spectators on the side and finishing here in Stellenbosch? Tomorrow it's grand finale, but it felt already today that it was the grand finale.
Well, I didn't recognize a lot. I just went all in. To be honest, I didn't really. I mean, I saw some.
Then we ask Candice. Maybe she knows better.
I must say, I mean, for me, it's obviously a home crowd. And it honestly, it really touches me how many people are supporting me. Like, I hear my name all the way out there, and yeah, the fact that people just get so behind me and encouraging me and excited to see me is amazing.
Good luck for tomorrow, and then it will be even more.
Thank you.
Candice Still and Mona Mitterweiler, the Cannondale Factory Racing pair. Closing in on the finish, a little glance from Sophia Gomez-Vierf, and there's the finish. Perhaps a word to Samara. Well done, we're nearly there. And third place for them once again for the Toyota Specialized 91 team.
Well, at this point they can hear the announcer, and they'll be encouraged by the sounds of the race village. It is one of the greatest moments for any rider, any of the 1,200 riders that will be finishing today, to hear that sound, to hear the sound of the race village, the sound of the announcer. They know they're very close to home as they turn in, and the Toyota Specialized 91 team will know, they'll be satisfied in the knowledge that they've done absolutely all they can to try and unseat the dominant pairing of Ghost Factory Racing, Cannondale Factory Racing. We saw them attack over the last week, and Gomez Villafana and Samara Shepherd happy to take that third spot on the overall podium. It looks pretty secure, you could say, but if they would like to have any chance of taking second spot overall, they'd have to make up 17 minutes tomorrow on the tomorrow stage, which barring incident looks very unlikely, but we never say never. We've seen incidents in the grand finale. We've seen some dramatic grand finales in the past couple of years, and it's still all to play for first and second for sure. But third spot looks very much secured for Gomez Villafana. 17 minutes means that Cannondale Factory Racing, it does give them a bit of a luxury, because they can go absolutely all in. They can take some risks, in fact, to try and unseat the leaders, the GP2 leaders jersey wearers of Ghost Factory Racing. And you see Toyota Specialized 91 Villafana and Samara Shepherd go over the finish line and finish in third. Another podium for the Argentine and the New Zealander.
It's not the step they wanted, I'm sure, on the podium. Number 3 again for them. but they did put in some attacks early on, very early on, like inside the first hour of what is now turning out to be a 4-round, 44-minute stage. So they tried, but ultimately just didn't have it in them today to take the stage win.
Yeah, and there's another tough stage coming tomorrow, going into Junkershoek, but also then the trails down to Mauratie, so south from Stellenbosch, which are also very, very rough, far more rockier than today's stage, and it will work the riders really till the end.
Yeah, they do the whole of Junkershoek and then they come back again. They come really close to the finish here and then head out.
It's almost cruel.
It is. It is. At least today they can see the finish and they know they're going here. Tomorrow they'll go head on further up the mountain, up Stellenbosch mountain, and then across to the trails at Montmarie and then back again. So that is going to be a very, very tough finish for all the riders. But when you have done by then 7 days and nearly finished that stage, the pain will be there, but the glory is lurking just down on these fields at Rustenberg, and that'll be the goal for all the riders tomorrow in the 20th edition of the Absa Cape Epic. What a beautiful sight it is. The race finish village here in Stellenbosch at Rustenberg. All the riders were transferred from Wellington yesterday by vehicle and bus and the like, and camped here overnight and then raced today. And this is the result of their efforts in the RMX women's race, the very sharp end of it. 3 teams in so far. Sophia Gomez, Viervan and Samara Shepherd in 3rd place again for Toyota Specialized 91. And they finished just over 10 minutes behind Terpstra and Kohler, who in turn were a minute. They added another minute to their general classification advantage over Cannondale Factory Racing, Simona Mitterballer and Candice Lill. But it's all about the Ghost Factory Racing team this week. They've been utterly dominant from the very first day in Lawrenceford to right up here to Stellenbosch. They need to do it all again tomorrow to put the final seal on what has been a hugely impressive week. That's the difference then, 3 minutes and 51 seconds. Well, you heard the fighting talk from Mona Mittenweiler particularly. They won't give up. They know the history of the event, that it can turn around on this last day. It's not an exhibition race tomorrow. It is all-in racing tomorrow.
It's a full-on stage, and we have seen in the past few years, well, the past years, in fact, the last stage, the final stage, it's always been traditionally a shorter stage, an easier stage. Not exactly a procession, but that would mean that just the riders had a chance to enjoy it, soak it up, but certainly not tomorrow. Tomorrow's all to play for. We heard that fighting talk, Mona Mitterweiler, and it's clear that Anna Terpstra and Nicole Kohler cannot relax.
And years back, so I also remember in the night from Saturday to Sunday to the grand finale, I got so sick, and so that can also still happen that someone of the riders, tummy or cold flu, who knows?
All to play for.
Cloudy skies over Stellenbosch for stage 6 of the Absa Cape Epic, which has delivered, well, every type of conceivable weather over the last week and tested the riders to the absolute, as Vera Lossa and Alexis Skada roll in. Efficient Infinity Insure SCB have just finished their stage 6. So the race is coming to an end tomorrow with the grand finale, but in a year's time, it is 2025, the 21st edition of the Absa Cape Epic. And in order to get in line to get an entry, a prized entry, they're very hard to come by, you can enter the lottery for the 2025 Absa Cape Epic right now and enter the Untamed and see if you can get in line and taste what it is all about to race the Untamed, to be part of this incredible event, the Absa Cape Epic. So let's hear from our third place team in the ladies race. It is the Toyota Specialized team down at the finish line.
Samara, how was it?
Yeah, it was a really tough day today. I think the whole body is starting to feel the effects of every day being so tough back to back. It's amazing. We had a really strong start, and I was feeling good, and Sophia was feeling good, and then I think I underestimated how much nutrition you needed out there, and I just started getting emptier and emptier. And but yeah, the trails were amazing. The last downhill was super fun.
That's good to hear, but it means it counts all these days that accumulate the tiredness from the beginning. One more stage to go. You feel your legs when you start the race.
Yeah, no, I felt stronger today when we started, but it's everything, like down to the breathing is even getting shallower and shallower. So yeah, it's amazing the body can keep fighting, and I'm pretty sure we can keep fighting again one more stage tomorrow.
Sophia, is it more difficult if you can't ride full gas as you normally can do with a strong partner?
Wait, what's the question?
Do you have to hold back? Do you have to take care about your partner?
Yeah, you know, I think for me, after all this heat, having a cool day, like my FTP goes up like 30 watts when there's clouds and a little bit of rain, and you know, I think I can just go so deep and recover that sometimes I like don't realize maybe how hard we're actually going. But you know, like I don't want to move up in the GC because we're there and the girls have a mistake. Like I want to earn a stage win or earn a second place or a win. So it's like I said yesterday, I'd rather die trying than just like, you know, be super lame and be behind. And we went for it in the first hour, and we put them under pressure, and we have to be really proud of that effort.
Tomorrow it's one more stage, another hard one. It's not an easy one. And how is it with all these spectators next to the course?
Oh yeah, it's so fun, you know, like now that we're in the weekend and we're in Stellenbosch, like the mecca of mountain biking here in South Africa, everybody's out in full force, and when you're just dying out there, breathing really hard, there's always somebody there to cheer you on and keep pushing you forward. So yeah, it's really fun.
And how is it to finish here in Stellenbosch, also with the grandstand next to it, fully packed with people?
Yeah, it's electric energy out there. There's so many people trackside, and just the whole vibe is amazing, and it's a great place to race, to start and to finish. It's been fun.
One more tomorrow, and even more people tomorrow around the course. So good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.
Karel, Tommy, how was it today?
Oh, long stage, long hard, lots of single track, but lots of fun. Even I discovered new single tracks I've never been riding. The atmosphere was fantastic, fabulous. Thank you guys for that much support.
That many spectators?
Yeah, a lot, everywhere. And all know Carl. Hey, Carl, come on. And I say, hey, I'm Tommy, please.
He won 5 times. He won 5 times.
Yeah, I know. It's a legend here. Everybody says, come on, Carl, legend. It's amazing.
Super. And how was it to finish here? Tomorrow is Grand Finale, but how did it feel?
I mean, we're always here for training camp, and now seeing this scenery, it's just amazing. It's overwhelming. Thank you, guys.
Carl Platt, Tommy Misser. In fact, Tommy Misser, in his downhill career, may well have ridden that Doctor section because it was the 1997 World Cup downhill was on part of that trail. And Tommy Misser, in fact, in 97, I think, was 3rd in the World Cup overall standings. So he may have been there. It'd be interesting to know whether he'd ridden that trail before. Very different in those days. Have a look back. Roll back to the start of today's stage. Stage 6 of the Absa Cape Epic, 87 kilometers, 2,400 meters of climbing. The men charged off the line as they always do at breakneck speed. And leading the field was Specialized 91, Toyota Specialized 91, and they had a handy lead of 2 minutes and 57 seconds on general classification over World Bicycle Relief, Nino Schurter and Sebastian Finney, with Buff Megama 8:43, but under pressure from Canyon City, who are finishing well at 11:48 behind the Specialized teams. As early on, we saw some teams that we haven't seen at the sharp end, KMC particularly, Tim Swinger and Toysereta going to the front of the race to try and make their presence felt. and put an oar in the water for their teams.
We also saw Austrian Daniel Gersmeyer, well-known campaigner at the Absa Cape Epic and winner of the Swiss Epic, and Jakob Doragoni as well, also at the front of affairs. But at this point in the race, there were around about 20 teams in the mix before they hit the next water point. It was very clearly race on in the very beginning, but tricky day out for the Bulls Media e-bikes as they struggled with the trail surfaces and the high pace set by the front riders. They have their jobs cut out for them, following the world's best with high stakes racing, and behind the best in the world, we were able to witness from a rider's point of view, bringing us these images that we see right now. And as the stage started to heat up, we saw Canyon Seedy right in the thick of affairs, as well as Willia Vittoria. But woes for Nino Schurter and Sebastian Fini as they struggled with a crash earlier on.
Pavel Berner said the Polish champion and Sergio Manticon had issues as Beers and his partner Grotz were in the mix here. So Tace Reiter, this was on the Ida's Valley trails, and there was in fact, so beg your pardon, this is on the Mauratie trails, the Methuselah section here, and the Canyon City just lost, went off track there, the Stutzman, and had to hook back onto the trail behind Matt Beers with his partner up the road into the second water point at 47 kilometers. And this bunch all together, Buff Megamo were very prominent here. They were looking to try and make it hard to put some pressure on the team in second place, World Bicycle Relief, because they were starting to suffer. An opportunity for Buff Megamo to gain ground on Nino Schurter and Sebastian Fini. Here they were, the Bart Alleman Hans Becking combination, sensing an opportunity to take time out of second place, but soon enough they were closed down by Canyon City as well as by the Toyota Specialized 91 and KMC were all together.
A very select group, in fact, with Canyon City, Toyota Specialized 91, the yellow jersey wearers, and with World Bicycle Relief missing from that group. We saw one member of the KMC team looking back for his partner, hoping to get him back in touch. Buff Megamo also in that group.
This was the chase group with Nino Schurter bearing signs of a fall earlier in the stage. So some problems, and there were problems for Canyon City on the Ida's Valley trails. Stopped dead, and well, how it was that Hans Becking and Bart Alleman ended up behind them, I'm not entirely sure. We will find out. They had issues with some grass in the wheel and issues on the trail.
And we did get that information from the interview earlier, but we just need to know some more details on that, because it did cost them rather a lot of time as we watch the riders snake their way up the final main obstacle of the day, and that's Botmaskop, just before that final descent, the Doctor.
That was the corkscrew, and now on to the final climb, and the decisive moment in determining the winners of this stage. Fabian Ravensteiner and Samuele Porro of Willia Vittoria were the other team in this race, and it was Porro who just couldn't match his other three colleagues on that climb, and he was dropped, and the yellow jerseys flew the coop and charged towards the finish. Meanwhile, Buff Megamo were trying to exact every second they could out of the stage. A second consecutive stage win for Matt Beers and Howard Grotz for Toyota Specialized 91 as they consolidate their hold on the overall leaders' yellow jerseys. Second place, Willia Vittoria Factory, the best day of their week thus far by a country mile as they move a little bit further up on the general classification. Fabian Ravensteiner and Samuele Porro. Thank the crowd and thank each other for a really big effort today. And eking out seconds all the way to the finish line. Bart Alleman, the European champion from Belgium, and his Dutch partner Hans Becking for Buff Megamo in third place. Top step though, Matt Beers and Howard Grotz, a second consecutive stage, and they will race the final day, the grand finale, in the yellow jerseys here in Stellenbosch. The women's race had a familiar look to it as they rolled away in these cloudy conditions and a light mist falling over the Rustenberg area here. As the orange leaders' jerseys on the shoulders of Ann Terpstra and Nicole Kohler of Ghost Factory Racing held a 2-minute and 51-second lead over Cannondale Factory Racing's Mona Mitterweiler and South Africa's champion Candice Lill. Further back, Toyota Specialized 91, 11 minutes and 39 seconds back, were off the back. But they did try, and they gave it their all, boldly going early on inside the first hour. It didn't set much panic in the chasing group of Ghost Factory Racing and Cannondale Factory Racing. They just kept a steady tempo, and as the road got a little steeper, they were able to close the gap ever so slowly, and then eventually rejoin the pair of Sophia Gomez-Viafan and her partner Samara Shepherd.
Just saw some big efforts there by Candice Lill and Mona Mitterweiler, and trying everything to put distance to show up any chinks in the armor of the Ghost Factory Racing team. At this point, still all the teams together before the next water point. Main contending teams, I mean, the top 3 teams on overall general classification: Ghost Factory Racing, Cannondale Factory Racing, Toyota Specialized 91, all together, but showing signs of weakness. Samara Shepherd and Gomez Villafana just giving her a bit of a push to keep her as much in contact as possible with the lead 2 top teams, Ghost Factory Racing, Cannondale Factory Racing. And we can see just from the visuals, the gap already starting to grow, growing up to over a minute at this point as the riders head to the next time check.
Down the Toyota Tough section, Methuselah on the beautiful Mauratie wine estate. That was a real spectator point and a thrill for those close to the track to get up close and personal to these riders. Candice Lill did so much work on the front. Mona Mitterweiler, well, by her own admittance, they just do not give up. They just kept their presence there. They were always with the Ghost Factory Racing team, but just could not get away from them as they were so solid. Ann Terpstra and Nicole Kohler always in control of the race. The Ghost Factory Racing pair in the maiden Absa Cape Epic. Meanwhile, Sophia Gomez-Viafan a drop back to nurse Samara Shepherd through the remainder of the stage. They'd realized they were not going to make an impact on the general classification today, and they were well clear of the 4th place team, just under an hour ahead of the next place team, so they weren't under pressure from the back, and so could just manage their own efforts.
Mitterweiler just getting in position for putting a bit more pressure on the Ghost team. They tried everything, but on the downhill section, the Ghost Factory Racing team, the cross-country Olympic specialists, put their skills to the test on the downhill and opened up a gap, and that gap just kept on growing. The final downhill, the Doctor, as the riders hurtle down towards the tomorrow's grand finale venue and today's finish venue in Rustenberg and Stellenbosch. The river crossing, just one small little rise to go before the trails leading into the final finishing area.
Just where Ann Terpstra and Nicole Kohler were untroubled as they went through there. No pressure from a chasing team, and they could smile and congratulate each other on another fantastic job. Well done by the Ghost Factory Racing pair. Arms raised high. Victory number 7 for them here at the Absa Cape Epic, as Candice Lill and Mona Mitterweiler of Cannondale Factory Racing rolled in 2nd place to secure their place on the general classification, well ahead of the Toyota Specialized 91 pair. Sophia Gomez-Viafan, a former champion here with Hayley Batten. Her partner this year is Samara Shepherd from New Zealand, the Oceania champion. 3rd once again for this pair, rolling in to the finish here at Stellenbosch. And that's how they finished the top 3 in the Aramex women's race today. Very much as it has been throughout the week, from the very first day at Lawrenceford and that prologue, which seems like a long time ago. We've done a lot of following of these riders, and we have a final stage here in Stellenbosch tomorrow, which promises to deliver, again, great drama, but incredible visuals of these riders riding some of the world-renowned trails in this part of the world.
We've been treated to a rider's eye view of these trails and also an aerial view of the trails, and certainly an iconic region. We visited 3 iconic regions of mountain biking, as we do every single year, and as the vintage 20th edition is ramping up towards the grand finale, we see the results. Matt Beers, Howard Grotz dominant in the men's category, and taking the victory from in the last minute of the last climb from Fabian Ravenstein and Samuel Pora. Hans Becking Vardalerman fought another day bravely and held on to that 3rd spot on overall general classification. Andreas Seewald and Mark Stutzman issues out on the trail, as did Hans Becking and Vardalerman have. And a great performance from the Dutch riders Schminker and Reuter from Team KMC. Also good to see Daniel Gersmeyer back on the results list at the top end of the field, riding with Jakob Doragoni.
General classification after stage 6, 7 days. Matt Beers and Howard Grotz now have a handy lead over Nino Schurter and Sebastian Finney with Becking and Allemann. That is going to be the race tomorrow. 1 minute and 11 seconds behind the World Bicycle Relief Pair tomorrow. The race is on for 2nd place, which will add an intriguing dynamic to the day. And Andreas Seewald and Mark Stutzman, well, they're just over 3 minutes behind Becking and Allemann. The podium is enticingly close for them. Ravenstein and Poro now in 5th place. The big losers today are Bear Speed Company. I'm afraid they are out of the race. Unfortunately, Lucas Baum took ill yesterday and wasn't able to continue after reaching the first water point at 25 kilometers a day. Gail Geiger rode on alone and will ride tomorrow as an outcast, and he will certainly be finishing the ride on his own. And the women's race and Terpstra a minute ahead of Lille and Mitterwalder in today's stage. Gomez Vierfan and Shepherd, 10 minutes they lost today. Giron and Preen continue. They're just 4 minutes behind Gomez Vierfan and Shepherd. They've had a rock solid week. The French champion and the South African former road race champion Hayley Preen going very well indeed. And they are in 4th place overall, because at the moment Terpstra and Kohler are untouchable at the top of the general classification, standing 3 minutes and 51. Mona Mitterwalder and Candice Hill fighting talk from the Cannondale Factory Racing team, saying they are not going to give up. There's still a day to race, 67 kilometers tomorrow. Gomez Vierfan and Samara Shepherd, well, they're over an hour ahead of the E4 Private Client Holdings pair. And Vera Lossa and Alexis Skada, a bit of a better day today, but still some way back for the defending champion from Namibia and her American partner in 5th place. Stepping on to the stage and the podium for the Aramex Women's Elite category, the top 3 teams today. And in 3rd place, the Toyota Specialized 91 pair of Samara Shepherd and Sofia Gomez Vierfan. Put in a dig early on, didn't quite work, and then just managed their efforts to the finish. No real threat to these two on the podium, Mona Mitterwalder and Candice Lill. The world champion stripes, the world marathon champion, Mona Mitterwalder. At the age of 22, she's held that title. This is the 2nd time. And the South African champion, Candice Lill. And then the top step of the podium, once again, well, they've never been anywhere other than on that top step. And Terpstra and Nicole Kohler from Ghost Factory Racing.
I'm so used to seeing them in the Chevita orange jerseys that it's almost unusual to see them and in their factory racing livery. But in a moment, we'll see them in those orange jerseys as they claim yet another set of them. 7 out of 7.
Excess baggage for them as they head home.
And also with little soft toy.
The mascot.
The mascot.
Yes, the Aramex mascot. They've got a full collection of those.
I believe there are a lot of kids out there here on the fields which also would be happy to get to grab one of these.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see them very shortly step up again onto the podium to don those orange leaders jerseys. There they are. And Terpstra and Nicole Kohler The race winners today, as they have been throughout the week, one more day to go to ensure that those jerseys stay with them for the next year. We've seen it happen before, so do not discount the fact that those jerseys might not be on their shoulders tomorrow. But, it can and has happened. The Aramex women's leaders, though, are Ghost Factory Racing. And Terpstra Nicole Kohler will take a lead of just under 4 minutes into the final day.
It's the closest we've seen ever at the Absa Cape Epic, and we never count our chickens until the very end. 4 minutes is not a lot of time if there is a mechanical. But this team seem to be very much in charge of everything that they can control of the race. That's the thing about the Absa Cape Epic. There are many factors you can't control, but this team are very much in control of those things that you can.
And how does the song go? Don't ain't it over till it's over?
Yes, it ain't over till it's over. This is it.
That's what Mona Mitavalna is going to be singing it to herself this evening, as she was alluding to in the interview. They're going to take it down to the wire.
This is what lies in store for them tomorrow on a relatively short stage. In fact, the shortest of the entire week. However, it does bring with it a serious amount of climbing and hard trails to cope with as they head into the Stellenbosch gem of Jonkershoek Nature Reserve. And they will ride pretty much all the single track trails imaginable there. Armageddon, Red Phoenix, and then right at the very, very end, never-ending story. Then across the valley to Bosslace, they'll go up that and down Fire Hut, across along the Dentist, and then past the start-finish here and out towards Eden, Montmarie, G-Spot, and home.
One of the great things about the grand finale this year, the loop course, is that the spectators down on the finish, they can get a chance to see the riders twice, and then as they head out back on that final loop and enjoy the very last of the Toyota Tough sections, the G-Spot.
Well, if you are in the vicinity, then why not? Come along tomorrow and watch the grand finale here in Stellenbosch. You can watch them start in the morning. They'll head out to Jonkershoek, and you can go up onto the mountain and watch them come back, do a loop here before getting down to the finish. You can watch it all. It's almost like a World Cup cross-country race. Another fascinating day of racing here on our first of 2 days in the Mecca of mountain biking in South Africa, Stellenbosch. And the village will rest this afternoon. Those still out on the trails making their way in will be thankful for the overcast conditions, the cooler weather today. And they'll get home with relief and a smile as they prepare for the grand finale tomorrow, and to be welcomed home like heroes they are on the finish line at the grand finale. Sabine, thanks very much for joining us. I'm sure there's a ride in you today.
Yeah, I mean, it stays dry, and why not?
Neil, you'll be out there as well as I'm sure I might even get out there. It's been a fantastic day. Join us tomorrow morning early as we bring you live action from the grand finale of the 20th edition of the Race That Measures All.